If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally. An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle Edition. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. Two-a-days closes out in the AFC North. Brooke, Pryor of ESPN going to join us on the Steelers side of things on the AFC North as well. Get you set for the Brownies this season. Luckily, the assistant to the traveling secretary hosts this show, so we have a pretty good idea about what they're going to do as this season goes along. Lots of college football as we're inching closer to the opener on Saturday. You will hear from Ryan Day. You will hear from Will Howard. What exactly is the minimum requirement for Will? A couple of weeks ago, we put together some stats that felt like benchmarks for us. You're going to hear from him coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. It is a First Friday. You got an officially endorsed coming at the end of the program. And, of course, it is a Hey Guys First Friday. I already see some Hey Guys questions rolling in this morning. We will get to those at 10 o'clock. And the winner there receives the great gift card from our great friends at High Bank. So you have that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. I have not been shy of admitting this through the years, that this is my favorite sport to cover. It was from the word go. As soon as I got to Tallahassee in 2001, it was pretty obvious that I fell in love with this thing at first sight. Yes, it's the pageantry. Yes, it's the tradition. Yes, it is the feeling of a big game on campus, which is second to nothing in sport as far as I'm concerned. I think it's the best thing that you can have in sport. There's an energy to it that's absolutely impossible to replace. I love the idea that it's constant, that the uniforms largely stay the same, the structures largely stay the same, the players and coaches come and go. But for the most part, if you showed up at Ohio Stadium in 1975, it wouldn't look that different than it does now. The uniforms would look largely the same, and the experience would be largely the same. The band's going to play the same songs. All of those things are gonna hit. The other thing that I love about it, though, is the dirty underbelly, and college football has just an absolutely filthy underbelly to it. And one of the things when I first got into it that was interesting is I assumed that when I got into the media that there was a part of me, especially when I was young, when I was in television, where I thought, you want to be Dick Schaap, Jeremy Schaap, and you want to go investigate. And if wrongdoings are done, you got to find it. And many of us at that time in the South were people who weren't necessarily from there, and we were moving in from other places. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was getting together with like a buddy who covered the Gators or a buddy who covered Alabama and talking about, hey man, do you hear what they're doing here? Like, this is what's happening. Have you seen the cars they're driving? Have you seen the apartments they're living in? Have you seen the wristwatch, the $100 handshakes, all this stuff? And we would talk about it. And it was fun. And the notion was that everybody was kind of doing it, that everybody was doing some sense of it, right? That there was always going to be a little bit that was going on under the table. And I started to think about it this morning, and I just wrote down some that jumped out to me when I thought of college football scandal. And of course, at the top of the list is SMU. They had a pay-for-play plan. They kept records of their payroll, and it resulted in a 2-year death penalty. It's a remarkable time in the sport because the notion that only SMU was doing it was just absolutely nonsense. Of course they were doing it. In fact, in the documentary, Eric Dickerson is driving a gold Trans Am that was bought by Texas A&M, but SMU got pinched for it. So there was always this selective judgment or penalty by the NCAA through the years. And one of the things that's really key to that is you have to be able to get to the place quickly to investigate it. In the old days, You had to, because it was journalism, it was newspapers, it was television. In the SMU case, it was Dale Hansen, who was a longtime main guy at WFAA in Dallas. He was the one that kind of blew the top off of the thing. So you had to have that to be able to get it. And then the nationals would come in. The big national newspapers, the big cable, they would come in and then they would do the investigation. But it had to be broken locally. And a big part of that I've always contended was it is so much easier to fly, in this instance, to Dallas, Texas than it is to go to College Station. It's much easier to fly to Columbus, Ohio than it is to fly to State College. So that always kind of played a part in it as well. But just think of the other things that were out there. Think about Nevin Shapiro at Miami. Think about the Pell Grant scandal that they had at Miami in 1995. Think about Florida State and North Carolina with academic fraud issues through the years. Reggie Bush at USC, 2 agents, right? What were they doing? They wanted to represent Reggie Bush. So they hooked his folks up with a house and they got him $100,000. But what they're really hoping for is to represent him by the time he was a pro. There are so many of these things. We've dealt with these things. You think about what was going on with Maurice Clarett. Think about Terrell Pryor, Tatgate, all of it. What was all of that done? What do all of those things have in common? Hell, you can go back to 1951. The Army football team suspended 37 students for cheating on exams. Every single one of those instances that I just gave you, though, was an example of how can we either, A, make sure kids are eligible. That's the academic side of it. Florida State, North Carolina, West Point in 1951. How can we make sure kids are eligible? The other part of it is, how can we entice kids to come here? Okay? So the latter part is now all legal. It's all legal. There is no more enticing someone to get there. You just pay them. And so that brings us to the Michigan scandal. And I didn't know if I was going to watch it. And then I had last night I said to myself, look, you continue to host a sports talk show in Columbus, Ohio, and this is directly linked to you. You need to watch this. So I watched this thing last night, and I was racking my head, and I could not come up with another example of a scandal that directly impacted the outcome of games like this one. Impermissible benefits to Reggie Bush, tats for jerseys.
They don't make them better football players or
they don't make them better football players. They do not give you a competitive advantage. Those guys are already at your campus. If the competitive advantage is that you incentivize Eric Dickerson better than Texas A&M, okay, but you're all trying to do the same thing. And by the way, all of that stuff is now legal. In terms of a true competitive advantage on the field, I couldn't think of one. Usually when you have competitive advantage on the field, it's some sort of a point-shaving scandal.
Yeah, it's the opposite. It's a disadvantage.
Right. Goes the other way. It's like CCNY basketball back in the 50s. Like they had one of those where there was a point-shaving scandal. There's been those that we've seen. Now, we've seen tragedy. I mean, you had covering up murder at Baylor. You had obviously Sandusky at Penn State. But those were not competitive advantages for a football team or a basketball program or any of those things like it was at Baylor or Penn State. It was trying to protect the program from incredible shame of someone that inside the program did that was wildly illegal and just, quite honestly, gross and awful. But in terms of competitive advantage on the field, I couldn't think of one. I really couldn't, except for this one. And this thing all flipped when this dude started doing this stuff. And we'll get into just the way it was presented and all of it. But it was hard for me to find something that was this much of an advantage in terms of what happened on the field. I couldn't think of one where it was a direct comparison to it. And the thing that sucks most about this is almost every example that I gave you of previous scandal in college football, there was harsh NCAA realities and penalties for it. Because at the time, the NCAA, in all of those times, whether the mid-'80s especially, but through the 90s and early 2000s, the NCAA was an entity to be feared. They were an entity not to be trifled with. Remember, we would say, please, sir, I'll have my porridge. No more. That's it. Take my punishment. We would do that. That's the way we did it.
Punish yourself.
Of course you would.
That it lessened the final punishment.
Do you know how many times I heard when I first got, like when we were dealing with Pryor and the Tatgate and all that stuff, and it was like, oh, but we're going to preemptively report. We're going to preemptively report. That's all over. There's nothing to fear. So as as impactful as this was on the field, and does, for example, Ryan Day and CJ Stroud have a case for fraud? I had somebody tweet me that yesterday. I don't know. They were done dirty. I'll tell you that.
Go to court.
They were absolutely done dirty.
More court.
There is nothing for Michigan to fear from an NCAA standpoint because they are a paper tiger. And so you watched this thing last night, and we'll get to it in the next segment, just kind of the way they went about it and what it was. But just in terms of looking for that pound of flesh, as we keep talking about, I just think it's something that's never going to land.
But I think what you're describing, too, with college football is that the drama and all that stuff, all the scandal, is a feature, not a bug. It is why the NFL is higher quality football. I don't think there's too many people who wouldn't agree with that. Just like objectively looking at them, they execute and they're better players across the board. It's the NFL. But college football is the only sport that nobody beats the NFL, but they're the only one who approaches NFL-type numbers, and they're clearly second in here. And I think that with a better football option there, I think that's because of all of that stuff around it. Because when Ohio State plays Michigan, or you can use any two rivals or any two conference opponents, sometimes it's out-of-conference opponents that haven't played each other in a long time, but maybe you have some stories. There's all that context around them. And so the result of the game means more in college football than like the score on the scoreboard.
Yes. That's right.
There's so much more to talk about on top of it. And that's why we love it. It's the greatest. I mean, look at the stuff that happens. It's the greatest reality show ever put on television, in my opinion.
I don't think that's wrong. It has all of the layers.
I think, and again, more we'll get to on Netflix's Untold Sign Stealer documentary, but I think it was such a good move by his attorney to videotape their conversation with the NCAA to show just how feckless the NCAA is in all of this.
Wasn't it something?
Like it was, they absolutely. I mean, the NCAA. Their faces were blurred, but you could see the giant red clown noses that they were all rocking.
He asked a question back, and they were like, "What, you can ask us questions." She didn't know how to respond.
Just an unbelievable. You pull behind the curtain, and there's Oz. It's just a person pushing buttons. Wild.
It was a stunning thing. It's always a little bit surprising to me how, through the years, what fans think the NCAA really is. The NCAA works for the presidents. They work for the universities. They represent the presidents and the universities. Remember, Michigan is a member of the NCAA, right? So they work for Michigan. They work for Ohio State. They work for everybody. So fans will have this misguided anger towards them. And for the longest time, I think fans thought that the NCAA was this army of Pinkertons that was out investigating wrongdoing everywhere. They've never been that. They're even from their apex, they're a millionth of that now. They don't really even have an investigative arm.
No, they took down their staff a ton during the pandemic. It is not a very large staff anymore. You mentioned the building in Indianapolis.
No,
it's like Wonka's factory. Nobody ever goes in. Nobody ever comes out.
No, it just sits there empty. There's nothing there. So you watch this thing, and we're going to get to it in a second in terms of what it was. But they did it. They did all of it. They did everything they're accused of. Of course they did. Of course they did. And they're going to get off largely scot-free, and that sucks. And so your revenge, your reckoning, will be at the end of this football season. That will be your reckoning. And then if you're lucky, and if you continue to build the way that this program is built, it will continue to happen every last Saturday in November for a while. That will be your revenge. There will be nothing else. There will be no asterisk. None of that. None of it. And by the way, even if there is, they're going to live in their truth because they are fully committed to it's not a lie if you believe it. They're completely committed to it. No one more committed than Connor Stallions. We'll get into the doc. I want to weigh this kind of carefully here because I know that there's fatigue with all of this as well. So, but I do think it's important to talk about what this thing was last night. So we will get into that. Ryan Day has some starters that he's announced. We will go over that. You will hear from them as the Buckeyes continue to prepare not only for the opener against Akron, but for the season at large. Lots to get to. It's a First Friday Miracle Edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
This season on Nada Yada Island.
You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile. Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
At Take 5, we're faster than you think. That means we'll change your oil and have you back on the road before you can count all the change in your center console. Cha-ching, baby! Just sit back and relax while our fast, friendly team does all the work. Take 5, the stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change. Appointments now available at participating locations.
Hey, Buckeye fans, ready for the chance to win one of 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences? As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. We're talking tickets, sideline passes, a trip for two to the Oregon game, and exclusive access to the Ryan Day Coaches Show. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 winners. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
We don't talk politics on the Fan. We'd rather talk about things that unite us, like the exciting Buckeye season ahead and pizza. How about the rebirth of the Jackets and pizza? Your home of the Buckeyes, Jackets, pizza, and no politics. The Fan.
Coming this Labor Day weekend, Bob's biggest challenge yet. It's time to dare to compare. It's got action. It's got suspense. It's got beeps and boops and dings and whomps and more savings than you'll believe on living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, mattresses, and more. And best of all, you get to play too this Labor Day weekend. Now open in Reynoldsburg and coming soon to Polaris. See how much you can save this Labor Day weekend when you dare to compare at a Bob's near you.
We're dealing at Reichert Nissan. Hundreds of Nissans in stock, on the ground, and priced to sell fast. Low lease payments on brand new Reichert Nissan Sentras, only $219 a month. Now we're really dealing. With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Visit the Reichert Mega Mall off 270 and 33 or shop thousands of new and certified used at ReichertNissan.com. Get the right car at Reichert. We're dealing.
With approved credit. 2024 Sentra SV FWD 36-month lease with $3,000 due at signing. Offer ends 9/3/24.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Demaro.
As we come together for Labor Day celebrations next week, we must remember the reason for the holiday. Unions are the backbones of our communities, and union members, including the nearly 120,000 members of the OEA, have always used our united voice to advocate for the conditions we all need to make Ohio's future bright.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Do you have foot pain? Foot pain is not normal regardless of your age or job. Podiatric physicians are the most qualified doctors to care for your feet and can provide important foot care solutions or shoe inserts to better manage foot pain. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. We've been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years.
For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, sunny, hot, and humid with a high of 98, heat index around 105. A few late-day thunderstorms are likely. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 74. A little bit cooler tomorrow with a high of 93. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
After putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, hey there, fellas. Listen, Erectile dysfunction is a terrible condition. It causes stresses in relationships, creates anxiety, undue hardships on the man and often the partner as well. Yet many men suffer for years without seeking treatment. And it's a given that better medical practices generally lead to better outcomes for patients. And if you suffer with erectile dysfunction, you want a good outcome. Tri-State Men's Health practices better medicine. They're the leaders in treating men's sexual health issues here in our fine state of Ohio. So here is what you do. Do yourself a favor. Schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town. Your initial visit is $99, includes a medical consult, licensed medical provider, a TNPSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. Now, if the test dose doesn't work, the office visit is free. So it's a no-lose win-win for you. Give a call today. Get your sex life back on track. 800-900-9654. Visit tristatemenshealth.com today. 2 locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard and near Medical Mile in Westerville as well. All right. I think that when I saw some of the leak of the Stallions thing, my hope was that, and the leak that I saw was him being questioned by the NCAA. That was the leak I saw. I did not know when I saw the leak that was videotaped from his side of it. My hope was that the filmmakers got their hands on it and that they were going to try to show both sides of this thing. But this was not a both sides. This was done as a homage to Connor Stallions. It was an attempt to make him heroic. It was an attempt to make him brilliant. It was an attempt, and he might be. I mean, he went to Annapolis, so he's not a dummy. You go to Annapolis, that's a tough threshold to get through. You got to be pretty damn intelligent to get into the Naval Academy. So he went to Annapolis, so that he has the intellect for it. And I also do think that it's entirely possible that he did create a database, that he did have a gift for this, for data analysis, because that's mundane work. And I understand the idea that a military guy would have the discipline to do that. When they go through the thing and he's got the camera up and he's shooting 3,000 signals and then putting it into a computer system, into a Google file and all of this stuff, like that type of monotony, that type of discipline takes military training, I think, to almost be able to do it. So all of those things can be true. And it can also be true that this documentary, to call it a documentary is honestly borderline laughable. This was sports washing, and this was trying to make him heroic, or at times maybe make you feel sorry for him. But to not push back at all, and to have the only Ohio representative or pushback to it being a Detroit news reporter who just called it BS and Brohio off of message boards.
I had never heard of this person before.
I haven't either.
I don't know why. Who he is, because he conceals his identity. So that is the detracting opinion? Is yes. Brohio in a ski mask?
Brohio in a ski mask? That was crazy. And then a guy from the Detroit News. That's it? Those are the only people that ask a tough question? Like, nobody pushed back of like, wait a second, you don't remember if you were on the sideline at Central Michigan? Then Portnoy comes on and goes, oh, yeah, he told me he was.
They gave him the picture, the documentarians, and he looked at it and goes, that's not me.
I mean, that's my favorite part of the documentary.
They just said, okay.
Is when, I mean, it's almost like he's trying to hold back a smile.
Yeah.
When he lifts up the phone, it's like, this isn't me.
It was Cat Ate the Canary.
Because the guy in the picture has sunglasses, a hat, and goatee. Connor Stallions, clean-shaven, bald head, no sunglasses. Can't be me.
It's like the Clark Kent disguise.
Maybe it was Brohio. We don't know. We don't know what he looks like. He could have been on the sideline.
Sunglasses and a baseball cap.
It was
you guys both watched, right?
Yes,
both
so good. I want to watch it again.
It took me just a few minutes to be like, oh man, they are going to like market this as Connor Stallions is the hero of this story, and he is the star of the documentary. It is mostly just him talking, pretty much unimpeded too, and they treat him like he's some sort of like criminal mastermind. Like it reminds me of a doc where like they went in to interview like a hardened criminal who's been in the clink for years, but he still says he's innocent, and this is the first time anybody's talking to him. But this stuff happened like 6 months ago, and it's all still really fresh in our mind. And here's the biggest problem with the Untold series in general on Netflix. They basically treat it, I said this last week with the Steve McNair one, they treat it like an episode of Dateline. They give you all the facts, and they want to present it as this like objectively telling it, but they go so far objective that they don't have a voice and push back on what people say. They just let people say it in the vacuum of their documentary and go, well, he said it, so that's his truth. And that's what you get from all of these. And so it ultimately just ends up being pointless. Everybody involved in this one, like just a lot of weirdos going on in general. But I mean, you're right. His ability to analyze this stuff does seem like a special brain up there to sit there and do that when he's sitting there explaining how he filmed all this stuff. But they need to go further when they're making the documentary of getting more of that stuff. Like there's random radio clips that aren't credited. Don't say I heard Dom's voice at one point, but he's not on video. They just pull up
Yolanda's in this thing.
Yeah, Yolanda's in there too.
It's basically filming the Wikipedia page, and the only interesting thing was the last 10 minutes. The only new thing, and that was the NCAA interview. But like you said, that appeared to be filmed by the lawyer, so the documentary group didn't even get that footage.
No, they volunteered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't pay him for this. They paid him for any video that he gave, and there's a lot of it, all the way back from like little kid running around dressed like Bo. What'd you think, Reese?
I loved it. I love how much they believe their own BS. Because you had Nicole Auerbach, you had Dan Wetzel. I forget, they had one more national college football writer on there, and they did a good job of every time a point was made by Connor Stallions or what I'll call a Michigan apologist, say a Dave Portnoy. You had the national perspective of like, this isn't plausible. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I'd completely forgotten that the Michigan man leaned on Ryan Day's brother, a private investigator, hacked into Connor Stallion's computer and got all the information to hand to the NCAA. And then you had Michigan absolute clown apologist Rich Eisen go like, well, when does the NCAA get a fully cooked investigation just put on their doorstep? That's how NCAA investigations work, sir.
I was explaining that to the boys. They're like, well, why is that a big deal? Like, if Ohio State turned them in, why is that a big deal? That'd be like someone saying, look, I saw John kill somebody, and you'd be like, well, are you sure that you have the authority to tell us?
Michigan is literally calling the cops because somebody stole their drugs.
You're right. That's exactly right.
And
that's the better analogy.
That's the question that the lawyer asked back to the NCAA, and it's like, that's not what this meeting is about. This meeting is about Connor Stallions and what he did. Now, I thought it was weird that the NCAA felt shocked to get, he's a lawyer. He's going to fight for his client.
Prepared, yeah.
But that question is like, are we talking about Ohio State or are we talking about Connor Stallions? Because they're two separate things. Even if it is true that Ohio State did that and that's a crime, okay, go after people in civil court. Do that. That doesn't change that you broke NCAA rules. One quote that stood out from Stallions too that I wanted to get to: I don't break the rules, I exploit them. Like, okay, yeah,
that was the end, right?
Yeah, and then the other one where they said that the in-helmet communication that's going to be adopted this year, they said this rule is now known by many as the Stallions rule. And no, we haven't called it that.
No, it's not known by that at all. You saw how feckless the NCAA was in the questioning because they don't have subpoena power. They can't force any. It's all voluntary. So
they ended the meeting. The lawyer.
Yeah, they ended it. They're like, yeah, we're done. That's it. Like, they have no subpoena power, which is proven. We've talked about that a million times. The idea that Harbaugh didn't know is just laughable. It's absolutely laughable. The idea that he was just buying tickets all over the country. That one time that guy with the braces comes on, he's like, oh yeah, I just like going to football games. Oh really? Do you? Do you like just going to football games? Who paid for all of that? That question was never answered. Who paid for all of it? Who funded him? Who funded this whole operation? That was a little bit of like that T guy, but there was really no real pushback to it. Yeah, it was sports washing at its finest. We'll get out of here on this. We get done, and a 12-year-old NBC goes, I go, what'd you think? He goes, Dad, that guy is such a yapper.
Grade A yapper.
He's a grade A yapper.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, he should sell that Michigan manifesto. Like, they can make a movie about it. Like, because he loves the attention and the spotlight.
But he still believes in his stuff so much that he's like, I'm not giving that to you. This was my work.
That's like, what are you say in negotiation to get more money.
And he will get, by the way, he will be taken care of by the Michigan man. Like, the Mumford job or whatever he's got.
I don't believe that lawyer's doing this work pro bono either.
No.
He tries to say it like, sometimes I do this for free because I just hate the NCAA.
Nah. I don't think so.
Connor Stallions just Googled lawyer and found this high-priced guy from Austin, Texas. Sure.
Yeah, tracked it all down. Delicate genius. All right, to actual football, and the beginning of trying to make all of this right starts on Saturday against Akron. Ryan Day up next with some updates on where will Chip Kelly coach, who's starting at what positions. We'll get to all of that coming up. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you don't like listening to the Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face.
For real.
You want to fight, do you?
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
Driving this summer in a new Honda. Act now during Honda's summer event to save thousands with low 1.9% financing. Full inventory is here. Cars, SUVs, trucks, vans, and hybrids. With hybrids, the battery charges as you drive. Don't miss Honda's summer event with big savings on gas or hybrid, like the 2024 Honda Ridgeline, now with low 1.9% financing. Search your local Honda dealer.
See dealer for financing details. For well-qualified buyers. Offer ends 9/3/24.
Congratulations, you're having a little girl.
At that moment, everything changed. Our hopes and dreams for ourselves were instantly replaced by our hopes and dreams for her. We got life insurance policies from Shelter Insurance, so that regardless of what life throws at us, we'll still be able to provide the world to her.
Visit shelterinsurance.com to find an agent to help you pick a policy that's right for you. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Hey friends, Brandon Beam over here for my great friends over at Wendy's. And Wendy's new saucy nugs, well, they're here. That means the best nugs in the entire game are now even better. You can choose between Wendy's iconic crispy or spicy nugs covered in bold, flavorful sauces, including buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, and even spicy ghost pepper. Eat them with a fork, eat them with your hands, eat them for lunch, eat them after midnight. There's no wrong answer. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
It's back to school time. That means it's time to start saving with Deals for School Days at Giant Eagle and Market District. Deals for Days means tons of discounts on all your favorite lunch items, snacks, and everyday essentials so your students can be ready to take on the day. Featured items will only be available at these amazing prices for a limited time. So don't miss out on Giant Eagle and Market District's Deals for Days for all the best back to school deals. Visit your local Giant Eagle or Market District today.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
Bob's Discount Furniture is coming to Polaris, and Bob's Discount Furniture wants you to win big this football season. It's easy. Get online and go to 971thefan.com to register to win a $1,000 gift card to Bob's Discount Furniture, so you can watch your favorite football team sitting in your new Bob's recliner or couch this season. Wow. That's $1,000 from Bob's Discount Furniture. All you have to do is register to win on the Fans Contest page at 971thefan.com. Hurry, contest ends Wednesday, August 28th. See complete contest details online at 971thefan.com.
During Toyota's national sales event, you can choose from more hybrid and all-wheel drive vehicles than anyone else, including the family-size Highlander. Now through September 3rd, get any new gas-powered 2024 Highlander and get $1,000 APR cash or $500 on Highlander Hybrid when financed with approved credit through TFS. Plus, every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, 2 years no-cost maintenance. Get details at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
At GNC, we know motivation can come from anywhere. You could be at the gym, totally focused on yourself and your own goals. You refuse to be gym-intimidated. Maybe you're on a weight loss journey, a new path to change your life. Nothing's gonna stop you. Or maybe you're putting in overtime on those booty goals. No shame in getting those gains round back. You could just be out to prove that when it comes to pickleball, you are a pickle baller. No matter what motivates you, we have the fuel to keep you going. Fuel your fitness at GNC.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's winds blowing across a fruited plain, and also your new fire pit, which subsequently sets your gazebo ablaze. It's hard-hitting football, and an even harder-hitting price estimate from your general contractor. That's a star-spangled bummer. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, we're through the nonsense. Here's what's up on a First Friday. Buckeyes a couple of days from kicking off against Akron and starting a season unlike many we've seen around here, certainly. We've talked a lot in the lead up to this season about how we're going to have, as a show, you as fans, we're going to have a different prism of viewing this because we have a 12-team playoff. Things are just going to be a little bit different. And for this Buckeye team specifically, it's going to be a little bit different because there is really nothing challenging on the schedule until Iowa. I mean, that's probably the first time where someone's going to stand up to you. Iowa won't be able to match you offensively, but defensively, Iowa should be one of the best teams in the country. And then the week after that, you go to Oregon, and that's the huge test right there. So this first month is going to be a very interesting time for the program. Ryan Day had his press conference yesterday. He was asked by the guys what would make a successful week one. Here's what he had to say.
It's not easy, but it's simple. You want as many guys to grade out a champion as possible, 80% or more. And you've heard me talk about that before, but sometimes the best answers are the simple ones. Guys, you grade it out, either you did your job or you didn't, 80% or higher. And then that we are the hardest playing team in the country. I mean, that's really, I know nothing's going to be perfect. It's a start. But if our identity is going to be the hardest playing team in the country and we're going to be giving unbelievable effort, we have to put that on film. We got to grade out over 80%. And we got to play really, really hard. And that's what I mentioned to the staff today. And that's what we're going to talk about here in the team meeting at 2:30. And that's what we're going to, really be echoing out through all the week and then hold them accountable on Saturday. And then come in Sunday, identify what went well, what didn't go well, and continue to bang that drum. Also knowing that we're going to have to enhance, our scheme as the season goes on.
Couple of things when you think about this season and putting this all together. One of the things that's gotten a great deal of attention in the lead up to this season, and Jake Trotter, who will be joining us at 10:30, had the story on ESPN this week about the amount of money Ohio State spent on the roster. I used the analogy yesterday of diamond seller shopping is what they were doing. They were picking the best stuff off the top, and they did that. And those things cost a lot, but it wasn't a mass amount of things that was purchased. It was 6 or 7 guys that you got in the portal. They just have to be really, really good, and the very best 6 or 7 guys that were out there. Ohio State will not, in my opinion, have the problem that potentially could happen at Ole Miss. We saw it happen last year at Colorado. They did not bring in 25 guys. They did not bring in 40 guys. They do not have to get 25 guys to believe in the team. They don't need to have 25 guys believe in a brotherhood. That's already established. The vast majority of players who are signed to that roster signed initially out of high school to be Buckeyes. And what comes with that, right? So all you have to do is get a couple of guys who didn't initially to buy in. And everything I'm hearing is they got ultimate buy-in from all of those guys. So I think when you think about building a team, that ought to be relatively easy here because of the fact that it wasn't a huge amount of guys who came in. It's 6 or 7 who came in, and they're all bought into a brotherhood that's already there. And so we spend all off season talking about the money and all of this stuff, but in reality, over the course of the next 5 months, if you're going to hang a banner and you're going to do the things that we think this team is capable of, building that team ought to be relatively easy because the vast majority of people on this roster chose to be here out of high school.
Yeah, and at the top of that transfer class, if you look at like the marquee names, Caleb Downs and Will Howard, both of those guys, I saw a video with Caleb Downs earlier this week. It seemed like he was very comfortable taking some of that like leadership type role. I mean, he was giving the whole team beats by Dre that he was able to procure an NIL deal with. So it was a nice moment for him. I'm sure he felt pretty confident and cool, but he seems like he is totally embraced that. And he's only a sophomore, and he's switching teams with this. Will Howard has all of that experience, 4 years at Kansas State, and he seems to have embraced it. We've got some sound from him later in the show, but he just talked about like how starting those building blocks in the spring and leading them here in fall camp. And the leadership that you've gotten from these guys has already been apparent, and a lot of them are going to be starters. And that's because they got the cream of the crop. And they are actually, despite all the accusations of, Ohio State bought their roster, blah, 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 because of all the returners and what you said about like most of the guys on the roster are people who signed where the line that is dotted to go to Ohio State right out of high school. They're probably one of the least transfer touch teams actually in the country. It's a complete misconception.
Totally.
Clemson's like the only one that's less transfer filled because they don't take any.
Yeah, it was kind of the perfect combination of previous buy-in with future investment, where you had that entire defense outside of Michael Hall say, we're coming back to try to do this again. We're going to try to right this wrong, right these wrongs that have been done by the program. And then you had, the booster base that was galvanized by that Michigan loss, and all of it happened within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you had that catapult you into the expectations that you have now, and that's not been done ever by anybody.
No. Couple other things, just some housekeeping to clean up in terms of starters. Tager Chibola will start at right guard, so we're curious about that. But he seemed to be trending in that way throughout camp. He was mentioned consistently throughout camp. Sonny Styles is going to start at linebacker, although Jim Knowles said that really all of those guys they kind of view as starters, and they're kind of going back and forth. But Sonny has flashed, certainly, and has looked very good. We'll get into the Will Howard conversation coming up at 10:20 in terms of what's needed from him. Chip Kelly is going to call plays from the box, so he will be up there. There was a funny moment in the press conference yesterday where Ryan talked about, they asked if, like, it might actually be in the helmet communication answer. Let's play that one. So one of the big things, and they falsely call it the Stallions, but it's not. They were going to do this anyway. By the way, shame on the NCAA. I was watching with the boys last night, and one of them asked me, they said, why hasn't college been able to have communication in the helmet till now? Great question.
It was lobbying from people like Connor Stallions who like to steal signals. It was really defensive coordinators were the ones who always held on to it.
Like you could have. They're like, how long? I'm like, the technology's been here since the 90s. So like, it goes that long since you've had the ability to have helmet communication. You're finally going to get it. Ryan Day was asked about it yesterday. Here's what he had to say.
It's different. Yeah, it is different. And cutting it off at 15 is significant. Making sure that we have a plan for if it goes out, which can happen at times. When we were in the NFL, I remember that would happen sometimes. You've probably seen it in some of the games where it goes out for 30 seconds, and that can get you out of whack fast. So just those type of communications. But I think it's allowed Chip to communicate in particular situations really well with the quarterback. What's the down the distance? What can we expect here? Those type of things. And then getting feedback from the quarterbacks on, what is too much information. So it's been good. But, the day-to-day has mostly been just, in practice, the two that we've had were mock scrimmages. We turned it off at 15 to really get a feel for that. So, we'll get the call in early and get them lined up and go from there.
I think it was right before the bite we played there, or maybe just after, he discussed how while he was the reality that the realization that he could be speaking on the microphone as well into the helmet. So he can, but he's like, I got to make sure I don't, because we don't want to have like two guys crossing over a little bit. I just think the notion of, we talked so much about the roster and the talent and all of it. I do think it's possible that one of the things that hasn't been given enough credit nationally or talked about enough nationally is the hiring of Chip Kelly and what that means for the game day operations. That you now have two people who in NFL circles revere in terms of what they are from an offensive acumen standpoint. You have not one, but two of them now in charge of your offense. And what that is going to net you in terms of gameplay flow. It did seem that in the last couple of years, especially when there was so much going on, that when Ohio State would get out of script, there was a little bit of second guessing sometimes that was happening. And there's so many things that you're juggling on a game day. And now all of a sudden Ryan Day can handle big picture stuff on game day, and Chip is in the minutia. And I just think that's going to be an absolute game changer for them. And it's probably something that nationally, we've talked about a lot here, probably something nationally that hasn't gotten the attention it deserves. The idea that Chip Kelly is going to be calling ball plays at Ohio State, and he'll be doing it from the box. It's a big advantage. On the defensive side of things, it's as good a defense as you've seen. Jim Knowles, his comments, what he expects from this defense. How good can Caleb Downs be in year one as a Buckeye? You're going to hear from his defensive coordinator on that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place. And aspiring comedian.
That's fun. What's your best joke?
All right, two windows were hanging out side by side. The first window says, "Sure is a hot day." The other one says, "Ah, a talking window.
That's pretty good, Wilson.
Bet you can't top that one.
Well, at Pella, we don't have the talking windows, but we do have the windows your friends will talk about.
Dang it, that's good.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
And what is it called?
A ceiling fan.
And where is it?
It's on the floor.
And why is that a problem?
Well, see, the person who named it probably should have called it a floor. No, that's not right. The guy on TV I saw put up a ceiling fan.
Are you a TV star, Paul?
No, I'm not.
Are you an electrician, Paul?
I am not.
You are?
I am a middle management accountant, and I shouldn't be putting up ceiling fans.
You should.
Call the pros who knows.
Apex
Pros.
The pros who know electrical work, too. Hi, it's Alex from Apex Pros. And if you'd like us for plumbing, cooling, and heating, you're going to love our pro electricians.
Apex Pros are on the way.
Much easier, isn't it?
I'm glad we sorted this out.
Me too.
Columbus loves the pros who knows. Schedule with one click at apexpros.com.
There's nothing like having Common Man and T-Bone resting on your bosom.
Oh, for someone with no breasts, you've done very well for yourself.
Gross. Pick up the latest T-shirt in the fan store or pick up merch from a show you actually like. We even have Ohio State and jacket stuff. Head to 971thefan.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
More and more people are falling into problem gambling. Mary Haven's experts offer comprehensive care. You and your loved ones can count on mental, emotional, and financial guidance.
Confidential and judgment-free. Go to maryhaven.com today.
Pop quiz. What's the best way to go back to school? With Giant Eagle and Market District, of course. From lunchbox favorites to fun after-school snacks. Shop deals for school days and save on thousands of items throughout the store. Visit your local Giant Eagle or Market District today.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
And your Buckeyes open the season Saturday against Akron. Get ready for kickoff right here with The Fan. 10 a.m. to noon, the Central Ohio Toyota Dealers Fan Tailgate Show. Matty Ice and DeVere Posey on that. Noon to 2, the Kurgis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show with AR and Big Cat and Tim May. 2 to 3:30, the Ohio State Sports Network pregame show. Paul and Jim on that. And listen on the radio stream, 971thefan.com, the Fan app, or watch it on YouTube. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. And then you guys will have the post-game show. What time you guys get
yeah.
3 posts, 4 pre's.
So it goes network, then
Tim and Beam on. That's still network, but it's like Paul and Skip do one, then Tim and Beam do one in studio, then we come on.
Then you guys come on. So that's what, like 10 o'clock?
9-ish to 11.
9-ish to 11. All right, very good. See this ranking from Bruce Feldman, the top 100 impact transfers of 2024. Number one on that list is a guy that we know very well, Caleb Downs. His defensive coordinator spoke yesterday, Jim Knowles, on a defense that should just be absolutely loaded, and the idea of how they landed Caleb Downs and what he will mean to this team.
Look to recruit someone like that who understands the game the way he does. It's like a job interview. You know, it's like game day. So it's not, you know, my job is to not be that rah guy and all the beautiful things about Ohio State. My job is to explain the defense in detail so that he understands that I'm going to be able to coach him and make him better, you know, on the field and with the scheme. So it's a lot more analytical.
I have not heard or read a single coach quote about Caleb Downs where they are not blown away with his football IQ. Every single coach that ever talks about him talks about like how much the X's and O's and film study and all this kind of stuff that is just up there for him, to the point where there were high school coaches, opposing coaches, who thought he was stealing signs because he was that good at keying on the plays.
Yeah. This would be probably the best way to just if you're still out there curious about it, or if you're just paratrooping in now and you're like, now who's this Caleb Downs guy? If you are one of those people, Caleb Downs was, and I think this buttresses Chops' point, as a true freshman last year. Well, before I get to that, the most consistently best recruiting program of the last decade plus has been Alabama. They have never been anywhere other than first or second in the recruiting rankings for 50. The whole time Saban was there, they were first or second. They had a stretch where they were number one in the recruiting rankings like 7 years in a row. Like they just had the best roster every single year. Folks, it is that simple in college football. If you have the best roster, you will win. The only people who have challenged them for that has been Georgia here and there. Ohio State had a couple where they were close. Dabo had a couple, but even the depth of talent wasn't there. Dabo just really landed the quarterbacks. Texas A&M had the one, but it was weighed by defensive lines, predominantly being a bunch of 5-stars on that side of thing, and it crumbled quickly. So it could be acknowledged that the best rosters in college football over the last decade plus have been Alabama's consistently. Caleb Downs gets to Tuscaloosa as a true freshman and is the best player on their defense as a true freshman. So what Jeremiah Smith is going to do at Ohio State, and by the way, he's going to start at Ohio State at receiver as a true freshman game one. Caleb Downs did that last year at Alabama in a Nick Saban defense.
And delivered.
That's who you got. Yeah. And then did he not only start, he was the best player on their defense as a true freshman. That's who you got. So when you have that, it's funny, I had a buddy of mine, Ted, asked me yesterday, he was like trying to get like a custom like hoodie with like a player's number on it. And he's like, what do you think? What's the safest one? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure 2's safe. I think you get a number 2 and you put Downs on the back. I think that's safe.
Yeah.
And if it's just a plain number 2, it can be a Mecca or Caleb. And that's pretty damn good too with the double number. But no, he's a super duper star. And my hunch is that this is huge praise because he was consensus All-American, as much fun as anybody I saw playing in the secondary. But like my hunch is that he could have like a Malik Hooker impact where he's just a Band-Aid on the back who just is a game wrecker. I think that's very much in play for him.
He's going to have some crazy like closing speed plays too. That he's going to take the exact
Malik
right angle.
did that.
And, he's going to come from outside of the camera frame. You're like, wow, this guy's just running wild. Nope, Caleb Downs is here. But now with the Buckeye defense, maybe there won't be too many runaways, but there will be a play like that for him. I always like puns. Every year I pick a name and I do the pun with it. A few years ago, it was Get Rucked for Jeremy Ruckert anytime he scored a touchdown. The stove is hot for Cade Stover. I'm going off the tight ends this year, and I'm going with Caleb Downs. Anytime he gets a turnover, you can expect me to tweet, turnover on Downs. That is my...
There you go. That's going to be it?
Yes,
You're calling your shot?
That is my pun this year.
I wonder for him how different things are going to feel and things are going to be with having to go against the talent he does every day in practice, having gone against the talent he went against at Alabama in the SEC last season, and then facing Akron.
Oh, my God, Reese. I was thinking about that last night.
And then Western Michigan, you've got the next week.
And then Marshall.
After a bye.
And then Michigan State, who's depleted. No, I was thinking about that, just offense and defense. I was thinking about that with Will Howard, who we're going to get to at 10:20. Like, you've been iron sharpening iron for 5 weeks, and now all of a sudden it's going to be like, wait, how big are these windows?
It's almost slowed down the game of football for them.
And Akron's not even like a springy MAC team. Like, no, they're bad. They were 2-10 last year. It's not a good team.
No, this isn't Toledo coming in here. This isn't that type of. No, I honestly feel I'm going to feel quite bad for them.
Now that I think about it, it should be Ohio State if they insist on opening the season against a MAC opponent. It should be either the MAC champion or the MAC runner-up.
Or best MAC team in Ohio.
Sure.
If you're going to randomly decide to give people $1.8 million to play you might as well keep that money in the state. I see no value playing Western Michigan. Play Miami, play Ohio, play Toledo, play Bowling Green, play Kent, play Akron, play in-state.
There's not a shortage of in-state teams.
No, I just named them all. I mean, good Lord, pick any one of them. Play one of them and keep the money in state. I see no reason to give $1.8 million to Western Michigan to be a sacrificial lamb. I don't understand that at all.
Hell, why not schedule Oberlin again? That was the last in-state team they lost to back in 1921.
They still have a football team?
I don't know. It's not D1. I know that.
That's one of those. That's another one of those ones where. Have you been to that campus?
Oberlin?
Yeah, you would have no reason to.
No, I've never been to Oberlin or Otterbein. I've been on Capitol's campus and I've been to OWU.
Yeah.
Those all kind of
Denison's really cool.
Yeah, they kind of like operate in the same headspace for me, those universities.
Yeah, the one in Mount Vernon's really cool. Why am I blanking on that one? Really prestigious one.
I don't know.
Mount Union?
No. It's in Mount Vernon. Oh my God. Paul Newman went there. How am I blanking on this?
Paul
Case
Newman.
Western.
No, Case is in Cleveland.
Kenyon. Just throw
Kenyon.
Out.
There you go.
Small schools
Kenyon.
now.
Yeah. Mike's wife went to Kenyon.
Yeah, Paul Newman did go there and then went to Yale.
Yeah, that place is crazy. You pull into there and it's like, I mean, because it kind of looks like a castle. It's kind of medieval looking. And it's just in the middle of Ohio. And you pull in, you're like, wow, this is crazy.
John Heisman went to Oberlin.
Oh. There you go.
The original boat rowers, the yeomen.
There you go. Yeah, some of these are great. Like Heidelberg's in a crazy place. You pull into some of those and you're like, this is nuts.
It's like even beyond college town. It's whatever that next step is. Yeah,
middle of nowhere. Yeah, in many instances. All right, Will Howard coming up. Excuse me. Interview with him at 10:20. You're going to hear from him from postgame or from his available yesterday. Jake Trotter at 10:33. Hey guys, coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey friends, Brandon Beam over here for my great friends over at Wendy's. And Wendy's new saucy nugs, well, they're here. That means the best nugs in the entire game are now even better. You can choose between Wendy's iconic crispy or spicy nugs covered in bold, flavorful sauces, including buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, and even spicy ghost pepper. Eat them with a fork, eat them with your hands, eat them for lunch, eat them after midnight. There's no wrong answer. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later. At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Our nation's veterans put everything on the line to defend our nation. They're heroes. And when they need help, Congressman Mike Carey fights for them because he cares about America's veterans.
My name is Thomas Rand, and I put my life on the line serving our nation in Vietnam. But when I needed help with an outstanding disability claim, the VA wasn't there for me. But Congressman Mike Carey had my back. Because of his hard work, my claim was approved, and I got the help I needed. I'm thankful for Congressman Carey. He cares about our veterans.
Mike Carey will always fight to help our nation's heroes. If you're a veteran who needs help navigating government services, programs, and grants, call Congressman Mike Carey's office at 614-927-6902 or visit carey.house.gov. Paid for with official funds from the Office of Mike Carey.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Number 2, Ohio State hosts Akron Saturday at 3:30. Buckeyes are more than 6 touchdown favorites. Hear from Ohio State's head coach tomorrow at noon on the Ryan Day Show. On Tuesday, Coach Day said true freshman Jeremiah Smith will start at wide receiver. Third-year lineman Tegra Shabola will start at right guard, and Devin Brown will be the backup quarterback to starting quarterback Will Howard. In football, the Columbus Crew resume their MLS season tonight at the Philadelphia Union. Kickoff there is 7:30. Black and Gold beat Philly last week 3-1 in the League's Cup semifinals. In baseball Wednesday, the Royals look to break out the brooms on the Guardians. Cleveland hosts Kansas City at 1:10 in the finale of their 4-game series. Royals won Tuesday 6-1, putting them in a tie with the Guardians for the top spot in the AL Central. This update sponsored by Roosters. Roosters is giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. We're talking tickets, sideline passes, a trip for 2 to Oregon, and more. Register today at roosterswings.com.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
This was a week ago on the weekend. We were up at the lake, and I went by a farmer's market and scored a strawberry rhubarb pie, which I had not had since I was a kid. And it was one of those things that in my mind's eye, it was perfect, like slightly warm with a thin slice of vanilla ice cream. My kids could not get over the fact that rhubarb was green and kept thinking it was celery. And so it didn't necessarily take for them, which I was just stunned by.
Do they like root beer?
They do.
Because that's a similar flavor profile, but obviously a drink rather than a pie.
Yeah, they do. I don't know. So I love a strawberry rhubarb pie. All right, it is a First Friday miracle. It is time for Hey Guys, Hit It Fellas.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag #HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, winner here gets that $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. You get the free distillery tour, the tasting for up to 10. When you're talking about High Bank, you're talking about the best blended whiskey in America. 3 years running. It's right here in town. Support local. Grab a bottle of their new ready-to-drink cocktail. I talk about this one a lot, the Midnight Manhattan. It is perfection. It's their twist on the classic Manhattan. Put it on your shelf. Enjoy it as a nightcap. Enjoy it with friends. It's a win for everybody. Go ahead, fellas.
Loyal listener Troy, he says, hey guys, what's your all-time favorite distillery tour that you have done before? He says, looking for some possible bachelor party ideas and locations.
So I haven't done one other than with our great friends at High Bank, and that's a lot of fun, but I have not gone to Bourbon Country and done the distillery tour. I know that the Buffalo Trace one gets a lot of run. The Woodford one is supposed to be really, really cool. Another one, I think the... is it Beam? I think it's Beam is another one that's really cool. So you got to remember, like...
J-Lo did Angel's Envy in Louisville. She liked that one.
Yeah, there's some of them that are like in Louisville, but like out on the Bourbon Trail, that's when you see the Rick houses and all of that. So I think you're not going to go wrong with any of them, Troy. I think there's a lot of great stuff out there. And what I think is really cool, and I've done wine country many times this way, one of the things that I think is really cool is just this notion of like, oh, That's what that is. Like here's the thing about anything, food, liquor, whatever. It's all subjective, right? So what's kind of cool when you go on one of these distillery tours or a winery tour is you identify something that you like, and then you go on the tour and you taste it with somebody who knows what they're talking, and then you say, that's why I like it. There's an affirmation to that. Oh, that's what I like about it. And then you can find other things that fit that flavor profile. So I think no matter what, you're going to win. But I can't tell you one specifically that's better than the rest.
I did too while we were over in Ireland. So unless you've got like a billionaire friend, that's probably out of the question. But it was really interesting to do the two because Teeling was actually like an old Irish whiskey that the brand was bought by this family and they like restarted it. So it's its new incarnation is relatively new. The other one was Jameson. Maybe the biggest whiskey developer in the whole world, right? So theirs felt a little bit more like a museum, almost in a way. Like they came in and they had all the flight for you to try, and they had this special room with this cool video that played like in the center of the table. It was almost like a hologram type optical illusion. The Teeling one, because it was a little bit smaller of an operation, we like went really deep into like where they're actually doing the distillery, and you could smell it and you could feel the heat and everything. So my point with this advice is that if you choose one that maybe isn't as popular and is a little smaller, you might get a better tour.
Maybe
of just seeing things. It's not guaranteed, so do your research.
But for sure.
But and that was, I really enjoyed that.
I'll second that. I've never done a distillery tour, but I've done brewery tours. I've done winery tours. And while the Guinness was fun, there's a winery, Brooks, out in Oregon. Those are more corporate, and so they're kind of focused more on the presentation and a lot on the reputation, but they're the smaller producers have more passion. The ones that are owned by families, it does take a couple Googles to figure out like the city you're going to, the area you're going to. Find one that's family owned. Find one that's a little smaller. Find one that's going to have more intimacy. That's going to have more passion, and that's going to give you that a better overall experience.
I think we also gave Troy advice when he was proposing. I may be misremembering, but it's funny that it comes back asking about his bachelor party.
Life coach. I like that we're the life coach. Anytime, anything you need, Troy, we're here for you.
Up next is David. Hey, guys, name a villain or superhero after each player and why. He lists Will Howard, Caleb Downs, and Quinshon Judkins.
Villain or superhero?
I think Howard is really simply Batman, because he has the least physical ability of all of these three that we're talking about, and that's Batman.
He's my favorite, though, so I'd like to see Will play in Scarlet and Gray before I call him Batman. But there's maybe a little Tony Stark to him, too.
I'd say he's probably Iron Man.
Yeah, a little bit of Iron Man in that, like, he's got all of the coolest toys.
The real superpower is being a billionaire.
Yeah. By the way, the crazy thing about Iron Man is, at no point did I had no idea about the backstory of Iron Man until Marvel did those movies.
Mm-hmm. It was like a C-rate hero for them.
Yeah, he just was not someone who I would think of as like in the vicinity of the others. Caleb Downs, you could probably have a little bit of Black Panther with him. He seems pretty impossible to defeat. So that kind of jumps out to me a little bit in terms of his speed and the way that he could disguise things. So maybe that jumps out a little bit. Who was the other one? Quinshon?
Quinshon, yeah.
He feels like he's got a little Thor, maybe.
I could see that. I could also see him, like, maybe I have seen this. He seems like one of those guys who might have, like, a Joker tattoo already. There's a lot of football players who like Heath Ledger's Joker. So maybe he could be the Joker, too. He said villains.
I guess because we're doing this show in Columbus, Will Howard will be Captain America.
That's true.
There's a good one. Yeah. And then, so he's Captain America. He did all the right things, got to Ohio State, got the super serum, and became a super football player.
Yeah,
just like Captain America.
Kind of looks like it, too. I think he could pass as Captain America.
Next one from loyal listener Phil. He says, hey, guys, here it is. You have to do a live show for a week. That's why I'm messing up. I'm reading live. It's live. Here we go. You have to live in a show for a week as an enemy of the main characters. Which show do you pick for your best chance at survival? Yellowstone, The Wire, The Sopranos, or The Boys? The Boys is out of the question because they're superheroes.
I've not seen The Boys, so I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know what that is.
It's like
what were the other ones? It was Yellowstone,
The Wire, and Sopranos.
Sopranos. Okay. And I got to survive, and I got to be an antagonist.
Yes, you have to be an enemy of the main characters.
Okay, so this is relatively easy. It would be The Wire because who are the main characters?
Cops.
The villains or the cops? But they're both main characters. So I can either work with McNulty and I can try to bring down the Barksdale clan, or I can work with the Barksdales and try to avoid McNulty and Bunk. So I think that's easy to stay alive in The Wire for a week. I think if you were a true enemy, I think the one I'd be dead quickest would be The Sopranos, especially if I wasn't like a made man. Like if I just did them wrong like that, Tony's way too quick to judge. So I think you're gone quickly there. Yellowstone,
I mean,
it depends on what mood. It depends on what mood Taylor Sheridan is in when he's writing the episode. How long I could survive? Because some of them they get a long run. That would also be my natural habitat, though, so I could evade them. I think pretty good. I'd have a lot of friendly faces as I was trying to evade them.
Home field advantage. Yeah,
I definitely would have some home field advantage there, especially over anybody who acts on that show. So yeah, I think probably the easiest would be The Wire to survive. That's a good question though, at him.
Yeah, I think that's the right one. Like I said, with the boys, the bad guys are superheroes. I mean, Homelander is literally just basically Superman. So like, no chance I'm going to survive in that. I guess I could take. They have like a secret serum that turns people into superheroes. I guess I could try to take that and see what my superpower is, but knowing me, it would probably be like I can like make my fingers longer or something stupid, because it's random and you don't know what power the people are going to get. So I'm not going to live in the boys. Yellowstone is probably, because it's so wide open, probably makes it the easiest. Bo, you're right on The Sopranos. I'm definitely way too much of a grade A yapper to live in The Sopranos world. I'm going to say something that's going to piss one of them off, and that's it for me.
Yeah, I don't want to do Sopranos. I don't want to do The Wire. I don't want to do Baltimore. I don't want to do New Jersey or New York. So I don't want to do The Boys either. Yeah, put me in Montana.
I'd take care of you. My people would take care of you.
That's the thing. Like I just have to survive to season 6.
Yeah,
be all right.
You could. We'd get you under the County Line Farms umbrella. You'd thrive.
Just real quick, Adam chimes in. Just took my free tour I won from Hey Guys. Everything was great, and the food at the end was well needed and so very good.
Yeah.
So there's your review for High Bank Distillery tour.
They're the best. Yeah, they're great. The food's great. The booze is great. It's a win. 1,000 wins. Go ahead, Shops.
Next one from fake Woody Hayes. Hey, guys, who was the better passer, JT or Braxton?
JT didn't throw the ball.
JT was the better passer.
Braxton had a bigger arm.
Yeah, Braxton had the bigger arm before the injury. He definitely could whip it. JT was limited in terms of his ability to drive the ball down the field, but he was wildly accurate underneath and in short yardage. Yeah, it's interesting that they followed each other, too, because they were far more similar than people give credit for. Braxton was just more dynamic, and to your point, a bigger arm, but JT was steadier. You did not have much ebb and flow with JT. Like, it was pretty much always good, with the
high floor guy, yeah.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, the game against Penn State in the second half here it's an all-timer. So, like, yeah, I think JT was the more accurate passer, though, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I watched Braxton all those years through high school and then here at Ohio State. And in high school, I thought he was already a better passer than Terrell Pryor, who was the quarterback for Ohio State at the time. But you're right about the touch, and maybe that didn't come along quite as much for him as he continued to develop over the years. But he always had that big arm, and that really stands out when you're watching high schoolers play. When a guy launches at 50, 60 yards down the field, that's like, oh, wow, yeah, he's different. And Braxton is different. So that's why I think he stands out in our mind. But you're right, that consistency with JT Barrett. JT Barrett just unfortunately did the you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. He was just here too long, and some people started to get bad opinions about him. But I thought he was a great quarterback. But it is a little bit like the SNL cast when you're in your 20s. Of course, I like JT Barrett. He's a quarterback when I was in school.
Yeah.
Well, Barrett was the sedan. Braxton was the sports car, and how you were judged was, did you make it from point A to point B? Well, Braxton got you there, and it was sexy as hell. JT got you there, and it was efficient.
It's a good analogy. I think both were also the perfect for the teams they quarterbacked. I think when you think of 2012-13 Ohio State, you had to have Braxton Miller. You didn't have the weaponry that you had in JT's tenure. So, if JT were on the 12 and 13 teams, 12 doesn't go undefeated, and I don't think 13 is undefeated all the way to the Big Ten championship game. Conversely, I don't know if Braxton would have thrived in 14 or 15 with all of that talent and it not all being on his shoulders. Like, I don't know if he would have been the perfect point guard distributor that JT was. So I think they both were kind of the right guy at the right time.
14 is such a weird what if, too, because if Braxton's healthy the whole time, they probably don't lose to Virginia Tech and have a simpler path to the college football playoff and probably don't end up playing Alabama in the first round. Probably play Alabama for the championship.
And I also don't know if they beat Alabama with anybody other than Cardale Jones.
Yeah.
Because his ability to drive the ball down the field was a differentiator in that game. I mean, that is
also a guy that they didn't know a ton about yet. He'd only really played one game.
No, not at all. All right, I like the super David, right?
Yeah.
Was he there? He's in the YouTube chat as well, right?
Yes, David.
Let's go with David. David, you're going to win the Distillery tour and the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. You will enjoy that. Free Distillery tour and tasting for up to 10. Drink the best, forget the rest with our great friends at High Bank Distillery. What did we decide on? Captain America for Will Howard?
Captain America for Will Howard, Black Panther for Caleb Downs, and maybe the Joker for Quinshon.
Will Howard, Captain America, up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with The Fan. Eat lunch with The Fan. Go to bed with The Fan. Dream about The Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Get your air conditioner fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
Consider yourself a bourbon connoisseur? At Twin Peaks, we are proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selects that are handpicked by our team and bottled just for you. Cheers!
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. As a business owner in today's economy, it's your job to anticipate constant market changes. But what do you do in the event of a divorce? Your assets and finances are scrutinized. Years of hard work building a business are on the line. This is not business as usual. You need an experienced partner you can count on for help. We're Cordell & Cordell.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Columbus area attorneys. 10 West Broad Street, Suite 1550, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. CordellCordell.com.
Coming this Labor Day weekend, Bob's biggest challenge yet. It's time to dare to compare. It's got action. It's got suspense. It's got beeps and boops and dings and whomps and more savings than you'll believe on living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, mattresses, and more. And best of all, you get to play too this Labor Day weekend. Now open in Reynoldsburg and coming soon to Polaris. See how much you can save this Labor Day weekend when you dare to compare at a Bob's near you.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
We don't talk about politics on The Fan. Instead, we welcome Buckeyes fans, NFL fans, and anyone looking to escape the never-ending cycle of misery. You're safe here, friends. The Fan, home of the Buckeyes and Ohio's politics-free destination.
With Tire Discounter's new TD Chat BS, we can detect deception over the phone. Let's call a typical tire store.
Yellow, cheapo tire where we bolt them on for less.
Yes, I need tires and lubricant for my vehicle.
Great, come on in. We'll slap on some new tires.
And what about the lubricant exchange?
Oh, yeah. We send you over to Ollie's Oil for that. They're right down the road.
Deception. Destination is 5.2 miles away.
Well, I'll be.
Also, 6 out of 10 cars need alignment.
Well, just travel on over to Alignments or Us.
Calculating time for 2 additional trips.
You mean you want to do tires, oil change, and alignment all in one fell swoop?
Oh, I observe that Tire Discounters, the home of free alignment, is close by.
Ugh, Tire Discounters.
And they are experts at oil changes, brakes, shocks, and...
I'm losing you.
Hello? I'm sorry. Your system has crashed.
Don't miss our Savor the Summer sale, now till Labor Day.
The Ohio Chapter International Society of Arboriculture's mission is committed to advancing responsible tree care practices. They remind herbicide and pesticide users to always read and follow the product label. The label is the law, so take the time to know how it should be used and how to use it safely. To find out more, there are over 1,000 qualified arborists in Ohio. Visit www.treesforohio.org to find an arborist near you. That's www.treesforohio.org.
Ohio's public schools are safe, welcoming learning environments where everyone can thrive, no exceptions. Thanks to the nearly 120,000 public school educators in the Ohio Education Association. We are dedicated professionals who deserve respect, a living wage, and a seat at the table when decisions are made. And we're using our united voice to demand the supports and resources our students need to succeed. Because in Ohio, public education matters.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are going 98 for the high. Factor in that heat index. It'll feel like 105 for the temperature. Here's the good news, though. We could see a few late day showers and thunderstorms that could cool us down. Tonight, looking at partly cloudy skies, lows in the 70s. A little bit cooler tomorrow with a high of 93. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And of course, we're sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss, fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. A solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss. You can watch us live in the YouTube chat. You can be like David, who just won the free Distillery tour by giving us a good "Hey Guys" question to our great friends at High Bank. So we are on YouTube. All your favorite shows are on YouTube. Check out the videos, the YouTube shorts. You just head to YouTube and search 971 The Fan. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fan's new YouTube channel, the podcast as well. Download, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you miss it live and you miss something like Jake Trotter in 13 minutes, who he will be joining us, or Paul Feinbaum tomorrow at 10:30. Very simple. You can get it on the podcast. It is always there. Will Howard has a very big job ahead of him, and it is the analogy I've always used with Ohio State in the quarterback position is you are driving a football Ferrari, and when you drive a football Ferrari, it's a high-performance machine, and the idea is keep it on the road, get from point A to point B, do so stylishly, do so quickly, but most importantly, do so. Get it to the destination. That's the most important job, and that's Will Howard's job this year. One thing you'll have to say about him, and it has to be acknowledged, is nothing was given, everything was earned. Yes, they identified him in the portal. They went out and got him. They got a deal that made sense for him and for them, but remember, he came in here. He had a black stripe he had to earn. He consistently through spring practice took the second team reps. He did not get the first team reps. It was usually Devin. Any drill, Devin went first. So he had to win the job, and he didn't do it in spring. That part is also a fact. He transformed his body over the summer. This summer is where it really took off. And then when we were at camp the first couple of days, then it was starting to become clear that he was going to be the guy. And he was available yesterday. This is obviously a much different job than the one that he had last year at Kansas State. But in order to win it, he needed to have a big summer. And that's something he talked about yesterday.
For me, like once we got through that spring, coming back into the summer, and we started up summer workouts, that was when I kind of started to settle into that role and feel a little more comfortable, challenging guys just because, we already had that relationship. I feel like, we worked hard in the summer, and Coach Mick gave us a lot of opportunities to become leaders, through some of the challenges we had in our workouts and our runs. And he put us through the fire so that, we had to deal with some adversity before, we just get out there on the field, because it can't be the first time that you're going through something out on the field, so we've already experienced a lot of tough stuff in our controlled environment, but I'm excited to get out there on the field and show these guys how I can really play in a real setting, because they haven't got to see me play, in a game yet. So I'm excited for that.
And he has never played with this type of talent. There are a few quarterbacks in the country who could claim that they did. Among them, Jeremiah Smith, who's going to start as a true freshman at wide receiver, which is pretty unprecedented around here. Here is Will Howard on the playmakers on this offense and the job of his to make sure that they get the ball with an ability to make plays.
I mean, no disrespect to the guys I've played with, because I've played with some really good players, and I don't want anyone to take this out of context, because I've played with a lot of good players, but I think here it's a little different. And the way that Coach Day and Coach Kelly teach some things are, hey, that guy's wide open. He may not look wide open, He may have a guy right on him, but he's wide open. In the NFL, he's wide open, you know, and that's the mindset that I've had to kind of develop a little more is like, he may not look to the general public like he's open, you know, but if you put a back shoulder ball on him, then, you know, that's a play you can make. And with the guys that we have here, I mean, they make plays like I've never seen anyone make plays before. So, you know, that has nothing to do. I'm just strictly speaking about the guys that, you know, I have. But I'm saying like it's a blessing to be able to wherever if it's one-on-one coverage, they're open. You know, it just depends on how I have to throw the ball. And I think that was a lot how Coach Kelly and Coach Day kind of instilled that in my brain. Like, hey, he may not look open, but he's wide open.
We talk real quick on that. I hope you really heard that, because that's a wild thing for a quarterback to wrap their head around, the way that he approached at Kansas State. So reading into that, what it seems to me is at Kansas State, he had to see it open before he threw it, because there probably wasn't the incredible trust in who was on the other end of it. Here, they're not open in his mind. In his mind, they're not open. They don't look open to him, but it took a spring and a summer and probably a fall for Ryan Day and Chip Kelly to say, no, that's open. They're good. They'll make the plays for you. That's, to me, the way I read that. And I think that's really important stuff.
Yeah, and him learning that. We talk so much about, like, this feels like you got a pro quarterback coming in. You know, he's in his 5th year in college and 4 years playing at Kansas State. So we know he has the experience. It appears he also has that maturity, and like answers like that where he like preemptively says, like, I'm not trying to talk about the guys I played with in Kansas State. I'm just trying to talk about these guys. And so he doesn't put himself into a media hailstorm by, oh, Will Howard trashes former teammates. You know, we didn't see that headline, because he knows how to approach these things. And I think, you know, the other clip we played where he said like he slowly eased his way into that leadership role, and now he feels like he has a voice there. He seems to be somebody who is intentional and like takes his time and thinks about things. And that is the exact type of level-headedness you want your quarterback to have, because his main job this year, I think, is like, don't turn it over. Get it to those playmakers when they're open, and don't turn it over. Like, that's what, if you can get that done and you can make the right decisions, then I think we'll be good with Will Howard with the amount of players around him on this roster.
It's a very Steve Rogers answer he gave.
Right.
Hyping up everybody that he's currently working with, while also making sure he's not disparaging players and coaches that he worked with at Kansas State, to which nobody who covers college football at any length would tell you those are the same football factories. The coaches and players are similar, Kansas State to Ohio State. Like, we all know that. Like, he didn't need to, but he did it anyway. Yeah, he's got to be more JT than Braxton.
I think you have to walk a fine line between, so Chops, you said like he just can't turn it over. I don't think he can, I agree with you, but I don't think he can play that way. I think he has to play completely free. I think he's got to, I don't think he can have it in his head, oh, I can't make that throw. And I think that's what they kind of coached out of him.
Yeah, you don't want him to overthink a bunch of stuff.
They want him to be free-flowing.
Grip and rip.
They want him to see it, rip it.
Are you saying it's a bomb?
Yeah, for sure. I think what you want to see, what you hope happened over the course of the time that he's been here, relatively short time he's been here, is trust has developed between him and the coaching staff, and him and the guys he's going to be throwing the ball to. And I think what is really key for him, and the big differentiator between what this team was last year and what they want to be this year, is in the red zone, it's got to be touchdowns rather than threes. And I think at times Kyle McCord was just wildly cautious in those moments. And I don't think they can have Will Howard play that way. I think he's got to just let it fly and play. And if he does, then look out. And he's got a whole month, by the way, to get ready. Our over-under on him was 3,500 yards, 65% completions, 35 touchdowns, 8 picks, 350 on the ground running. Those are our numbers. Now, that was through 12 games, too, like not through 17. That was through 12.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and I think it'll be really exciting, too. You talk about that playing free. It sounds like he's ready for that he's going to plays where he rolls out. He's going to take off and pick up that 5 yards and get that first down on a third down. He's going to do that for this team. And you can't have him in a situation where he kind of strings it out and runs to the sideline and doesn't get the yardage. You want him to go, okay, it's there, take it.
It's there. By the way, yesterday, Devin Brown announced as the backup, so Julian Sand behind him put a little push, but it'll be Devin second in the game on Saturday. Jake Trotter coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The Fan is live and local with Morning Juice. Caffeinate and dominate.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
You want a sub freshly sliced to order? You go to Jersey Mike's. You want the perfect radio idea? You go to me. Like this. I'm a lone ninja warrior. By night, I glide unseen across the rooftops, watching my enemies from the shadows. By day, I go to Jersey Mike's, watching someone freshly slice my sub. My blade is called Shadow. His blade is a Berserker brand meat slicer. Clearly, I have much to learn about this land. Freshly sliced just for you. Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Bob's Discount Furniture is coming to Polaris, and Bob's Discount Furniture wants you to win big this football season. It's easy. Get online and go to 971thefan.com to register to win a $1,000 gift card to Bob's Discount Furniture, so you can watch your favorite football team sitting in your new Bob's recliner or couch this season. Wow. That's $1,000 from Bob's Discount Furniture. All you have to do is register to win on the fans contest page at 971thefan.com. Hurry, contest ends Wednesday, August 28th. See complete contest details online at 971thefan.com. We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV?
They're here.
Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
Here, care is where you need it. With over 350 primary care providers in Central Ohio, expert care is minutes away. See how we care for all of you at mountcarmelforyou.com.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers, like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
There's something about country music that's just so easy. Like a Bud Light. Simple stories, soulful melodies, and lyrics that refer to drinking a Bud Light in the sun. So keep it easy. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Swimming is a great way to exercise and spend time with family and friends. Always swim with a buddy, keep an eye on children, and be prepared in an emergency if there is no lifeguard on duty. The next time you go to the pool, be water smart and know where the safety equipment is located. Complete the Ohio Department of Health Safety Equipment Scavenger Hunt and learn more about pool safety at odh.ohio.gov/swim. Have a safe swim.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Indeed it is. He's a senior college football writer at ESPN, great friend of the program, and he joins on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Jake, thanks so much for the time. As always, buddy, we made it. It is game week. You had a great story this week on Ohio State and the offseason and kind of all of the things that went into it. I know it's something you've been working on for a while. What were a couple of things that you learned that maybe you didn't know before you got started on it and before you published it?
Yeah, I think, Bo, we knew Ohio State was talented, right? We knew this team was loaded, but I wasn't quite aware how loaded they appear to be. Like when you talk to NFL people, which I did for this story, they are about as talented in the view of the NFL, as like any team of the playoff era. Doesn't mean they're going to win a national championship. Doesn't mean they're going to beat Michigan. Doesn't mean they're going to win the Big Ten. But in the minds of the NFL, this team has got, just in next year's draft alone, 10, 11, 12 players who are going to have starter grades. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't even include guys like Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Smith. So they are as loaded as it gets, and it's a combination of the players they retained, players that decided to come back instead of going to the NFL draft, which a lot of guys could have been late day one, early day two picks. The guys they picked up in the portal and the freshman class they signed. And then, oh, by the way, they brought in Chip Kelly to call plays. So I don't know that we have seen an offseason like this in recent college football history. Like, I don't even know what compares. But what I learned that I wasn't really aware of is just how loaded talent-wise this Ohio State team is. It's really almost unprecedented in recent college football history what they did this offseason.
Yeah, and the interesting, I used the analogy earlier this week of they really went luxury goods shopping. They weren't buying for bulk. They weren't bringing in 20 guys. They weren't bringing in 40 or whatever Deion did at Colorado, or even what Ole Miss did. Like, they identified elite talent in the portal, or they were identified by elite talent in the portal, and they went and got them. It's 6 or 7 guys at the top. It's just the best 6 or 7 guys at the top. So that's the thing that is kind of an interesting misconception about this. The one thing that is interesting, Will Howard was named the starter here this week, I think, or last week, or a couple weeks ago. We all knew that was going to be the case. He spoke yesterday. Is he ready for what's coming for him, in your view, this year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is a guy who started 28 games at Kansas State. He's played in, Big 12 championship games. And, I don't know if you've ever been to K-State. They have a great home field advantage. Some tough places you have to go when you're at K-State. You have to go to Oklahoma. You have to go to Texas. So he's played in some big environments before. Clearly, he's put in the work in this offseason. He's a mature guy. On the field, I think he's going to bring them a dual threat element that they just didn't have last year, that they really want to deploy this year. So, listen, he's not C.J. Stroud, but he is, I think, capable of making the plays that they need to make in order to get to where they want to get to. And it helps when you have, the best running back duo in the country working beside you. Helps if you had, maybe the best receiving core in the country to throw to. So, he doesn't have to be C.J. Stroud. He is going to have to make some plays, I think, for them to win a national championship, to win the Big Ten. But, he doesn't have to carry this team. This team is too good for that.
Is there I don't recall ever this in any, certainly never in college football, and for that matter in any sport that I've ever been around, the amount of change that we're headed for this season. And it's funny, when I talk to people who aren't in this world, buddy, they're unaware of all of it. Like, I had a conversation with somebody who I would consider a very ardent sports fan just last week, and they're like, wait a second, the college football playoff, the top 4 teams with byes, those aren't just the top 4 ranked teams? I'm like, no. You could have a 4-loss ACC champion with a bye in the college football playoff. Of the new things, new conferences, 12-team playoff, all of this stuff, what are you most interested in as this season kicks off really in earnest this weekend?
So much, Bo. And honestly, and again, this is my first year covering college football. after a few years in the NFL world. Even I have to okay, so the 14, okay, I have to remind myself what the rules actually are. It's so new and so drastically different that it takes a second to remember how this is going to work. Couple of things. The 12-team playoff, I think, is going to be awesome for college football in November. November is going to be unlike anything we've seen in college football. In the past, you had 6-7 teams tops that could make the playoff. Now you're going to have 20, 25. I have no idea. I submitted my playoff field prediction, and that was an interesting exercise. Okay, am I going 4 Big Ten? Am I going 2 Big 12? Am I going 1 ACC? Who's my group of 5 team? Because remember, the group of 5 is guaranteed a spot. Yeah. And so I think that is going to be really interesting. That race is going to be like a side race on top of everything else because the highest rate group of 5 team is going to be in. So those teams are going to be interesting to follow in the way that they weren't before. I'm looking forward to college football being deregionalized in the sense that it's not just about Columbus, Eugene, Norman, Athens, Tuscaloosa, Ann Arbor, South Bend. All these fan bases, are going to be tuned into college football in a way that they haven't been before. So you have Iowa City, you have Manhattan, Kansas, you have Lubbock. You go down the list. It's just different college football teams that are going to have a chance in a way that they haven't before. And I think that's going to be fun. And then the first round of the playoff is going to be wild. Yeah. Because they're not going to be neutral site games. So what is that going to look like? It's just going to be really fun. I told my wife, I said, because she's December, January. I was I don't know. Don't plan anything.
That's what I said too.
Because college football is going to the end of January. This is not like it was before. It's not like New Year's Day. You're done. It's going to be interesting.
It is, and I think one thing that's going to be really fascinating, and I think it's going to take an adjustment from guys like you and I in the media, and also I think the fans is, and I saw this actually on ESPN. I talked about this earlier in the week. There was a headline from where Heather Dinich was discussing the Florida State loss, and the headline was something to the effect of how big of a hit did Florida State's playoff chances take with the loss to Georgia Tech? The correct answer is it took no hit. It took no hit. Go win the ACC, which they can still do. There's no hit.
Right.
And I think you spent a lot of time covering Oklahoma. How the SEC and those fan bases handle, because there's going to be losses. They played all the hits. The big boys are playing the big boys. There's going to be losses. Are you satisfied at Texas? Texas might go 9-3, and that's an awesome year because of the schedule they're playing. And yet, in any other year, you'd be going, oh, my God, we're done. We're out of it. Well, you might not be. So I think that's going to take some adjustment for all of us as well. More of especially in the big conferences, Big Ten, SEC, more of an NFL view of the results versus in the old days, you lose. If Ohio State loses like they did a couple years ago at home to Oregon, it was like the sky was falling. That's not the case now.
There's a margin for error that wasn't there before. Florida State would have been done.
Yes.
Last year. And now, I would argue that they didn't take no hit because, there's going to be some at-large opportunities. If the Big 12, the ACC, the SEC is not getting 6 teams in the playoffs. So you're going to have a chance, to be an at-large team from the ACC, the Big 12, obviously the Big 10. But like you said, you still control your own destiny. We're going to have more teams able to control their own destiny, whereas before, there were 3 teams that controlled their own destiny. Everybody else, was basically a long shot. And now, you can lose to Georgia Tech. You can lose in the non-conference. And if you win your conference, you're in. And you've got a pretty good chance to get a bye, too.
Yeah. What's the game you're most looking forward to this weekend, week 1?
Oh, boy. What are you looking forward to? I'm trying to think.
I want to see A&M and Notre Dame. I want to see Marcus in year 3. I want to see physically how do they match up with. It's in College Station. You've been down there. I like I like that one a lot. I'm very curious. I think LSU USC a little less on Saturday, other than our game, obviously. But we're playing Akron. What do you do? But those two are both
I'm
good.
actually looking forward to seeing. Yeah, I was going to say I'm looking forward to see what Ohio State looks like. Like, are they, just given all the hype? But yeah, I think I would actually lean a little bit toward USC LSU because I feel like I know what we're getting out of A&M, right? I just feel like that, But I'm curious to see if USC is going to be what I think they are, or could they be a surprise? I think USC is going to be a really tough year for them, but Lincoln is a terrific coach. He develops quarterbacks as well as anybody. So could they be better than what we think, and how that could impact the Big Ten? And then LSU, they got to replace a bunch of guys from last season. Still could be a factor in the SEC. But both those games definitely stick out, and really through what is it? Is October 12th the monster weekend?
That's it. Yep.
Red River, Ohio State, Oregon. I mean, really between now and then, every weekend is pretty compelling.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, right? Any given Saturday, so it's all going to play out pretty fun. Great talking to you, buddy. Enjoy your first weekend back in it in full. It's going to be fun. Enjoy it.
Should be fun. Thanks, Bo.
All right, that's our good buddy Jake Trotter, senior college football writer at ESPN. Thing or not a thing, up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Now through Labor Day weekend, 0% up to 48 months or 1.9% up to 60 months on all 2024 and 25 new Lindsay Hondas. Unbelievable savings by offering 0% up to 4 years on every Honda on the lot.
If we don't have it, it doesn't exist.
Plus, talk to us about electric options with up to $97.27 and combined savings with dealer and federal tax credits.
LindsayHonda.com or I-70 in Bryce Road.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24-25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
Wendy's new Saucy Nugs come in 7 saucy flavors. Yep, you can literally hear your taste buds going. Taste bud sounds may vary. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Meet animals from around the world as you explore the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. Whether you're fascinated by the towering elephant or playful sea lions, we have it all at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. Visit columbuszoo.org to plan your visit today.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof. If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
Did you and your family lose Ohio Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
We go to war for you. I'm attorney Robert Schurter. After an accident, do you feel like when you have the answers, the insurance company changes the questions? Let us go to war for you and chop them down to size. Don't let them play games. Call us, 877-WAR-FOR-YOU. WarForYou.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Consider yourself a bourbon connoisseur? At Twin Peaks, we are proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selects that are handpicked by our team and bottled just for you. Cheers! Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
Right now at the Ram, make this the summer event. Well-qualified lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4 for $549 a month for 42 months with $3,640 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra, no security deposit required. Call 1-877-RAM-5722 for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Stellantis Financial. Extra charge for miles over 35,000. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by September 3rd, 2024.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
ESPN's Max Olson with this. College football's spring transfer period is officially in danger of being eliminated after the NCAA's FBS and FCS oversight committees recommended the sport move to a single offseason notification of transfer window. Under their proposal, the 30-day transfer window in December would become the lone opportunity for FBS and FCS players to enter their name in the transfer portal and seek a new school. For the past 2 years, the transfer portal has also opened for a 15-day window in April. The Division I Council will meet in October to determine whether it will adopt the proposal, which reduces the total number of days when student athletes can transfer from 45 to 30. If approved, the change would take effect for the 24-25 school year. The December transfer window will open on the Monday after conference title games and extend from December 9th through January 7th. Still 3 weeks left in the season. The NCAA cited a focus on promoting, quote, roster stability for student athletes and their programs in its release regarding this proposal. Thing or not a thing?
Reese, I want you to play the role of the NCAA. I'm going to do a cross-examination with you. Okay?
Yes.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Sir, true or false, normal students can only transfer one time a year?
While we can neither confirm nor deny the truthfulness of that statement, we are, however, working for an equitable solution to the transfer portal situation that several coaches and school administrators have brought to our attention.
Eric Stefanski over here.
There it is. That was. Listen, this is all nonsense because you're going to get sued and you're going to lose. Because when you try to put restrictions on when a kid can transfer to another school, you're going to get into a court of law, someone's going to sue you, and you're going to lose. And you're worried about the wrong stuff.
And you're worried about the wrong window,
too. The spring transfer window is not the problem. It's minimal. It's not the problem.
Nobody even transferred this year, really.
God, do you not even pay attention to the sport you govern? Not a thing. Idiots.
It's not. It's the NCAA just popping up every couple of months to be like, yeah, we're working on stuff. Stuff and things we're doing.
What's this line here? The Division I Council will meet in October. I bet you will. Get some Marriott points at the JW Marriott outside of Dallas.
Who says no?
Who says no?
So this
white tablecloth.
So this release came
Pappas
from
Brothers
a meeting
Steakhouse.
about a meeting, and instead there is another meeting, and this may happen. And
that's just idiots.
Like, for something that is just like, we got rid of the spring transfer window, why isn't that just something you can just like vote
There
on?
actually
right
is.
Like,
there's a huge problem with the calendar. This ain't it.
No, this makes it worse.
This isn't among the 50 things that are wrong with the college football calendar.
Yeah, but you're welcome.
God, idiots.
If I'm still playing the part of the NCAA. Earlier today, Ross Dellinger tweeted this. The 68 Power Conference teams are projected to start 43 transfer quarterbacks, a 63% clip. The top transfers signed for $800K and up to $1.2 million. Thing or not a thing?
You know, I think when you hear those numbers, you go, wow, that's a lot. But is it really? Think about the prominent teams over the last decade, going all the way back to the Oklahoma transfers. I mean, Oklahoma had Baker, Kyler, Jalen, Joe at LSU. Like, we haven't had Will's our first foray into this, but the transfer, Dylan Gabriel played for Oklahoma. Now he's going to play for Oregon. Like, this has been Jaden Daniels was at Arizona State, and then he went to LSU. Like, this is Jordan Travis didn't start out at Florida State. There's more examples of this. I guess we had, what am I kidding? We had Fields. Fields was at Georgia.
Right.
So, I mean, like, this is, on the surface, this sounds like a big thing, but my hunch is that this has been something over the last decade or so, maybe a little less than half decade at least, that's very regular. And we're all pretty accustomed to it.
Yeah, I mean, the last 10 or so Heisman winners. Okay, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, they're on one team. But then you got the Baker, Kyler, Joe one where that's 3 in a row Heisman winners who transferred in their career. Then the 2 Bama guys, Devontae Smith and Bryce Young. And then the last 2, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. So they're not just quarterbacks transferring a lot more than we used to see. They are the best quarterbacks.
They're the best.
It is no longer a knock on a guy like, oh, he transferred. It can get to that point. We have also seen that, the guys who have played for 4 or 5 different schools, but it's not the same world. It used to almost be like transferring was like a dirty thing to do. And like Russell Wilson was the first one to like bring up the whole graduate transfer rule. Like, that really wasn't that big of a deal. I don't remember it being that big of a deal. And then he did it, and then everybody started doing it, and now transfer's even more open. But yeah, it's just a big part of the game. Seeing those numbers is pretty wild, which is also another reason, remember to take a breath during any of the signing days. The player that is signing on that day might not even never suit up really for your team, and the player that is going to suit up at that position might be on another team, signing for another team that day. So that, just keep in mind that everybody's moving around now, and it's not the same lifeblood of recruiting for your program. You can supplement it with the transfer portal as well. Front Office Sports, they passed this along. Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce have signed a distribution deal with Amazon's podcast studio, Wondery. The deal is worth over $100 million per Variety. Thing or not a thing?
So it's 3 years, right? 3 years, $100 million. So it's 33-ish each guy. I'm sorry, per year. So half that each guy per year is what the deal is on it. I'm going to be very candid with you. Fantastic for them. Good for them. I understand it from Amazon's perspective because this is a new world they're trying to get in, and they need a big splashy name. And one of the guys in here is perhaps already engaged to Taylor Swift, so that certainly helps. I have no idea how you recoup $33 million a year from that podcast and make it profitable. But they're not in the business of making it profitable. They're in the business of that same thing they did with the what's the fantasy
Lord of the
series?
Rings.
Yeah, like give us a big thing. We're going to throw a bunch of money into it. We don't really. Yeah, we want it to be a hit, but if not, we need it for as we launch this, and that's what this seems like to me. Same thing with that Caller Daddy thing on Sirius XM. Yeah. How does that money get made back? I don't understand it.
Yeah, I think the reason why it's worth it is that the money doesn't get made back, but it does drive people to your podcast platform just because they want to see that. And then you can say, look at all the daily listeners that we have. Look at all the growth we've had, because that's what it all is now. Whenever these corporate tech companies meet, it's just all about like subscribers growth. They always have to show growth. And Correct. It's ridiculous to think that Amazon can continue to grow.
Yeah, right. And they're willing to lose in the interim just to show growth.
They have so much money, I don't know what they consider a loss. Like maybe the $500 million they spent on the first Rings of Power, but if they're doing a second one, it wasn't big enough of a loss for Daddy Bezos to say, well, just do it again.
Yeah.
How long until somebody's podcast gets bought by the PIF?
I wonder why they should. I guess probably HBO probably owns all of it. But like, the problem with the Lord of the Rings stuff is the cool stuff was already in movies.
And it's the same thing with the House of the Dragons. Is like it's based on a historical text. Obviously, it's fiction, but it's not written as like the stories of people and they're talking in conversations. It's just like, here were the events.
Here's what happened.
And so you have to adapt that, and it definitely didn't work for me for Lord of the Rings, and it has a mixed reactions, I would say, at least for House of the Dragon.
All right, we'll put a ribbon on two-a-days. Finish in the AFC North with the Browns and the Steelers. Get your officially endorsed as well. Final hour of the program coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The 2 most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Shark Carp and Beam here for our friends at FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel. It is, after all, America's #1 sports book. But we have something a little different for you right now. Through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Bob?
Who doesn't love watching YouTube? Who doesn't love quad boxing? You get 2 TVs going. You don't need some big satellite dish to do it now. You just need to stream it. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. You can cancel anytime, Beamer.
Absolutely can. I had it last year, and I spent all my Sundays on the couch. It's one of the best things that's ever invented. You can quad box any game now, any 4 games that you want on there. Just visit FanDuel.com/juice to download America's #1 sports book. Must be 21 and older. Present in Ohio. Full price of NFL Sunday ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
President Trump endorses Bernie Moreno because only Moreno will fight to make America great again.
We love Ohio and we love Bernie Moreno.
America needs Donald Trump and Bernie Moreno. They're both outsiders and successful businessmen, and together, Trump and Moreno will save America from the career politicians like Sherrod Brown and Kamala Harris who are destroying our nation.
We've had enough of these lifelong career politicians.
Bernie is a political outsider who has spent his entire life building up Ohio communities. He's highly respected, and he's going to be a warrior in Washington. And we have to elect Bernie to get in there and to seal our border, stop inflation, crush the deep state, and prevent World War III. Vote for Bernie Moreno. He'll be a great, great senator.
Help make America great again with outsiders President Trump and his pick for Senate, Bernie Moreno.
I'm Bernie Moreno, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by NRSC and authorized by Bernie Moreno for Senate.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jung's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell her 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reese. We're about 3 days out from Ohio State and Akron. The second-ranked Buckeyes are 48.5-point favorites. Saturday hosting the Zips at 3:30. OSU's 8-1 all-time against Akron. U of A won in Columbus back in 1884. Hear from Ohio State's head coach tomorrow at noon on the Ryan Day Show. 3 Big Ten teams will be in action on Thursday. Rutgers hosts Howard, Minnesota plays North Carolina, and Illinois takes on Eastern Illinois. In the NFL, former Vikings, Jets, and Ravens running back Dalvin Cook has reportedly signed a deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Cook will start on their practice squad, but can be called up for Week 1. In football tonight, the Columbus Crew are back to MLS play for the first time since late July. Black and Gold are at the Philadelphia Union. Kickoff there is 7:30. Columbus is third in the East with 43 points. They're back at Lower.com Field Saturday hosting NYCFC. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And join the Fan live on campus Saturday. Buckeyes open the season against Akron. We're tailgating at the Ozone on Lane beginning at 11:30. Admission is free. Stage announcements with Timmy Hall and Boom Heron. Music from the fabulous Johnson Brothers. The Fan at the Ozone on Lane is sponsored by your Central Ohio Ford dealers, Hollywood Casino, Mick Ultra, Jack Daniels, Pepsi, TNT Equipment, and Tito's Handmade Vodka. 2-a-days wrapping up in the AFC North and your Cleveland football Browns. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present 2-a-days. Our preseason look around the league. We may skip over
the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders,
but that's because they suck.
Cleveland Browns up first, 11-6 a year ago, second in the AFC North, lost to the Texans in the divisional round in a rather lopsided way, 45-14, in a loss that really propelled C.J. Stroud and the Texans into the way that people view them heading into this year. The magical run that the Browns were on last year is something that I have never seen in the years around the National Football League. They started 5 quarterbacks. They played their 5th and 6th tackles. They had catastrophic injuries to what you would say at the beginning of the year were some of their most critical, important players: Nick Chubb, Jack Conklin, Deshaun Watson, all these guys. All of them go down. You get the Flacco assance, which happens in December. Like, you think it's longer because it seems like it's this huge part of the season, but it was really the end of November and December, and that was it. And he took over the town, and they got him to the postseason and all of it, and they clinched the postseason at home, and they had this magical run. Everything that could go wrong off the field did for them. Almost everything that could go right on the field also did for them. The idea of Jake Moody missing a field goal that's a chippy for the 49ers, the various things that happened in the Indianapolis game. They had so many things go their way on the field. And so what do you do in an offseason? Well, you send Flacco packing, trade him, but you don't bring him back. You completely transition the offense from a wide zone play action offense to a spread shotgun offense. Just think of it in this perspective. The Browns in Stefanski's early years would keep 4 or 5 tight ends, oftentimes, always 4, 5 tight ends on the roster. They had a lot of 3 tight end sets. They had 2 tight ends on the initial 53, and I think they only have 2 active tight ends on the roster. That's how different this thing is this year compared to what it's been previously under Stefanski. Chubb is going to come back at some time. What percentage of health will he be when he gets there? Who knows? The defense is absolutely loaded. The roster is loaded. There were really only 3 probably roster spots up for grab in camp. Juxtaposition that to 6-7 years ago when there were upwards of 25 positions up for grabs. There were 3, and they're not even in the 2 deep. It's bottom roster stuff. That's it. So as I lay all of that out for you and acknowledge that none of it matters if Deshaun Watson isn't really, really good, I'll play the role as expert in the case, since I am the assistant to the traveling secretary. You guys can play the part of the media. Go ahead, boys.
Well, I wanted to start. You mentioned the initial 53. Well, it was something that people noted right away. Browns go with 4 quarterbacks in that first, when they put out the list yesterday. They're not going to have 4 quarterbacks on the active roster all year.
No.
So what are they doing at quarterback?
They're trying to find if there's a trade partner for Snoop Huntley. That's what they're trying to do. They're not going to trade Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I do not think that they're not going to trade Jameis Winston. I do think that if somebody went to them and said, hey, we will give you real value for Winston, yeah, I think they would probably do that deal. But I don't think anyone's going to give them real value for Winston. So I think they kept 4 because they really believe there's a value in Hundley. I think that's really what it is. But the 3 quarterbacks that'll be on the roster will be Watson, Winston, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Will DTR ping pong between the practice squad and active roster most of the year?
Probably, yeah.
So they won't trade Jameis Winston because they're scared he could take the locker room away from Deshaun Watson?
That was a Cleveland
This is what I'm hearing.
The Cleveland media ran with that yesterday, and I was like...
That's wonderful.
And I told you guys this throughout the offseason, there were probably real conversations in that building about the realities of, we really can't bring Flacco back. Because if Watson were to struggle, the Flacco stuff that would go around that building would be deafening. So they could not do that. And that part, I think, was very, very real. But there is none of that with Winston. He was brought in specifically because he thrives in a shotgun spread option route offense, which is what they're going to play this year with Ken Dorsey now as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he wasn't just a quarterback that they brought in. He was a quarterback specifically to back up Deshaun Watson. You talked about all the injuries, but a lot of those concentrated on the offensive side. Them being quarterbacked, I guess. I mean, he's not playing linebacker, but he's playing defensive end. Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. Just the fact that he is out there completely changes games for them. And that is, having that player at that position can really even out the playing field when the Browns are dealing with what they were dealing with at the end of the year, and he helped close that out so much. So I guess I didn't really ask you a question, but we hadn't talked about Myles Garrett yet.
It was a true statement.
It was a true statement. I think Myles is finally getting the attention that he deserves for the excellence that he plays with consistently. He doesn't always have the sack numbers that he's had, that some other guys have, but from a pressure rate perspective, he's without peer. And from a double team perspective, he is without peer. He wrecks games. He was a defensive player of the year last year. I think he's going to be even better this year. He's been unblockable in camp. In fact, the only one that's had the stones to try to take him on is DeJuan Jones, which tells you a little bit about how much confidence Big Thanos is playing with. But he's kind of the only one who's like, yeah, I want a piece of Miles. That's really it.
Well, I want to talk about a little more on the Browns defense, if I can, Mr. Bishop. How, if anything, is this linebacking core, now that you add Devin Bush, preparing for the idea that Dalvin Cook could face them week 1 for the Dallas Cowboys?
They're worried about it, man. Really worried about it. I do think in a serious, JOK is going to explode even more this year. Probably should have been a Pro Bowler legitimately last year as opposed to just a guy who was an injury replacement. Jordan Hicks is playing the role of Anthony Walker. So Jordan's an Ohioan. I want to say he's an Alter kid. He's from that area. He comes over from Minnesota, true professional. I think he's going to add a lot of stability to the linebacking core. This team has no weaknesses except for, and it's very real, left tackle.
Jed Wills, who's playing tackle, yeah.
Yeah, Jed Wills has not practiced. He's not going to practice this week. That would lead me. Jack Conklin is probably going to start the opener at left tackle. Conklin is coming off of a catastrophic injury. He's dealt with a bunch of them. He hasn't played left tackle since Michigan State. I know he's been working at it, but he hasn't practiced it. So that is a real cause for concern week 1 against Dallas. All right, so there you go. They're really good.
One real quick. This is the best receiving core that Watson has come in with in the 3 years, would you say? I guess it's basically about identical to last year.
Oh, no, because they got Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, you're right, Jeudy. I forgot about
Yeah. No. This is by far the most weapons. It's the most weapons they've had at the receiver position since Jarvis was in his prime and they acquired Odell Beckham Jr.
Right.
But that never really got to see those two both healthy at the same time play. So it never really happened. But no, this is it because you got Cooper, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, the second-year player out of Tennessee, looks like he's ready to go a little bit. So, yeah, they're set up. They're set up.
Running backs has really come on over the last few years.
For sure. Chiefs can have a huge year. I do think that the running back thing is – they're not going to rely on it much, but Jerome Ford, Dante Foreman, that's not in the vicinity of Nick Chubb. So that's one thing to watch for a little bit. Let's hit the categories on the Browns. Racist the team. Franchise Mount Rushmore. Who do you got?
Oh, boy. Joe Thomas, Phil Dawson, Myles Garrett,
Phil Dawson,
Joe Flacco.
And you're the Browns fan? Phil Dawson is great.
Hell yeah, brother.
Browns fans really believe that Phil Dawson was the greatest kicker in the NFL for a certain period of time. If you go look at what actually happened, go ahead, Chops.
Yeah, I went for, I guess, a mix on this one. Obviously, know a lot about the Browns. We talk about them, so their history is something that's much more in my head, and you can't not put Jim Brown on the Mount Rushmore for the Cleveland Browns. And no, he does not belong to Baltimore. They made that for sure when they went out and became the Ravens. That the Browns record stay with the Browns. Well, once the Browns came back, then they really put that down. I always liked watching Joshua Cribbs play. He was a tremendous punt returner for them in my formative years. Joe Thomas is the best player of the modern Browns. I don't think there's really any debate on that. And then Bernie Kosar is just a great dude, cool guy, has a ton of history, tons of cool stories about him, and right now dealing with the health issue, so I hope he's doing well.
Bernie Kosar is more popular in Cleveland than Joe Montana is in San Francisco. That's a true statement. Bernie, Jim Brown, Joe Thomas. Those are locks for me. Their history is pretty crazy, all the people you could choose from. Jarvis's was one of my favorite guys to get to talk to, but I think I'm going to go Nick Chubb because I think if you could identify what you would want a football player to be, you would just build Nick Chubb. That's just what he is. I absolutely love Nick Chubb. I'd buy this jersey for my kid, Reese. What are you buying?
Oh, a 95. I'm going with
they're popular. Yeah.
Myles Garrett. Do you want to do the grade for the uniforms?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The alternate uniform, the all-white.
Because I've been saying it this whole time. All-white uniforms are A-pluses for me. Anytime you can just pick a color and stick with it. Brown's A-plus in the all-white. Said it this whole time. A-plus, all-whites.
All-whites, A-plus. That's right.
We went through it last season, so I understand the historical reference of the white helmet, but I don't know. The Browns, their logo is the helmet. It feels weird to change their helmet, and so I like the Bengals white helmet, so I dropped it just a little bit, but it does look really fresh. The white pants are really nice in the addition of the all-white, so I went B+ on it because I'm not crazy about them not having the orange dome.
Yeah, it's weird that they chose the orange helmet to be the logo when they are the Browns and they first wore a white helmet. So the whole thing with them branding-wise is weird. One point, Beamsy said to me, Dad, I don't understand what the Browns, what is their identity? They have a bulldog, they've got an elf, they've got a helmet. He's like, what are the Browns? They're named after a guy I don't know. And so I asked my buddy who redid their uniforms when they got them right the last time, and he goes, the Browns are all of those things. That's the answer to that. Okay, fine. I think if it had a gray face mask, it would be an A because there is historical preference for it, but I'm going to go B+ because they went with the brown face mask on the white hat there. Now I'd buy this jersey for my kid, Reese. Who do you got?
I get a 95. You get a Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the no-brainer. Some ones that look like a 6 Owusu Koromoa, I think would be kind of cool, and then like Greg Newsome with the 0. Bo, you're not a fan of the 0, but I like it.
I got 60 of these upstairs. I mean, the boys got.
Any Phil Dawson's?
I got Delpit in 22 and 9. I've got we've got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah in 28 and 6. So all of those are cool. Chubb is awesome. That's a pretty easy one. Miles would be very, very good. I do like Delpit 9. I think that's pretty good. And by the way, Denzel Ward 21, also very, very good. Win it all, playoffs, building or tanking. What do you got, Reese?
I don't think Watson's the quarterback that can get them to win it all. There's a playoff team for sure.
Yeah.
The rest of the roster's ready to win it all, but I don't think Watson, I think while he can be good, I don't have enough faith he can get them to summit the mountaintop.
Yeah, I think it'll finally turn on a little bit more for him this year in year 3, and hopefully he stays healthy and doesn't get suspended so he plays most of the games.
Yeah.
But it still feels like a playoff ceiling for them right now.
I think they're the most talented team with the biggest quarterback question in football by a pretty wide margin, including the team we're going to talk about next. I think they're more talented than Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's got quarterback issues too. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's kind of like a hard ceiling playoff. I don't see a scenario where Deshaun Watson is going to revert back to what he was 4 years ago, and they're going to go into Kansas City and beat Mahomes. I think that's a really tough thing to try to envision. We'll hit two-a-days on the Steelers coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
Bob's Discount Furniture is coming to Polaris, and Bob's Discount Furniture wants you to win big this football season. It's easy. Get online and go to 971thefan.com to register to win a $1,000 gift card to Bob's Discount Furniture, so you can watch your favorite football team sitting in your new Bob's recliner or couch this season. Wow. That's $1,000 from Bob's Discount Furniture. All you have to do is register to win on the Fans Contest page at 971thefan.com. Hurry, contest ends Wednesday, August 28th. See complete contest details online at 971thefan.com.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
This season on Nada Yada Island.
You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile. Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary.
Meet animals from around the world as you explore the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. Whether you're fascinated by the towering elephant or playful sea lions, we have it all at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. Visit columbuszoo.org to plan your visit today.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Back to school time. Your kids probably have fancy friends. Isn't it about time you gave them a ride to be proud of? Actually, hell with the kids. Treat yourself to a new Lexus. Right now, it's the Golden Opportunity Sales Event with rates as low as 2.99% on ES, NX, and RX, as well as great lease payments. I've been a Jermaine customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. JermaineLexus.com.
If you're listening to this and you're not already keeping it easy in your backyard with a Bud Light, well, consider this message a gentle reminder. Your backyard is waiting, and so is that Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
We don't talk politics on The Fan. Instead, you'll hear us talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes, the NFL, food, family, and fun. We're your safe space. Except when Common Man violates it by playing fart noises. The Fan, Ohio's politics-free destination.
At Baths R Us, we're terrible roofers. We stink at installing siding. And don't ever call us for your kitchen remodel. But if you want a stunning, beautiful bathroom makeover in just 2 or 3 days, now that's when you want to call us. See, unlike Unlike most contractors these days, we offer only one service, bathroom remodeling. We don't spread ourselves thin by doing roofing or siding and a bunch of other stuff. Nope. At Baths R Us, we dedicate every company resource into mastering the craft of bath transformations. It's why we're the Midwest's biggest 5-star family-owned bathroom company, and it's why we have the happiest customers. Just check out our Google reviews. Baths R Us. We're terrible roofers, but we're awesome bathroom remodelers. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement, or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate, or go to bathsrus.com. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are going 98 for the high. Factor in that heat index. It'll feel like 105 for the temperature. Here's the good news, though. We could see a few late-day showers and thunderstorms that could cool us down. Tonight, looking at partly cloudy skies, lows in the 70s. A little bit cooler tomorrow with a high of 93. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Don't be fooled by the name. Chops and Reeser are just acquaintances.
Are you guys just co-workers? It should be Bishop and acquaintances. And acquaintances. That's what it should be. I guess Bishop and Friends sounds better.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
The Fan High School Football Game of the Week heads to Hilliard. Davidson hosts Canal Winchester. Coverage starts at 6:30. Kickoff at 7. After the game, it's Byers Dublin Subaru overtime with Bacon Lee Cochran. High school football is back Friday nights on the Fan. All right, we finished 2-a-days with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in Pittsburgh.
He's a wizard.
It's crazy. When I saw this, and yet they haven't been real contenders probably since Roethlisberger was, well, certainly since Roethlisberger was in his prime. It's been a long time. Really, since probably Antonio Brown and all of that divorce was probably the last time, Lev Bell and those guys, where you felt like they could go win a Super Bowl. It's been probably a decade, but they win every year. They never bottom out. And last year was another example of that. They went 10-7. I don't even remember like their quarterback, how it all worked. I know Pickett started. I mean, Pickett was only there 2 years, and then they bailed on him. I know Mason Rudolph played a little bit. I can't even remember how they managed it. They don't have anything dynamic at running back. They used a first-round pick on Najee Harris. He's fine, but he's not transformative in any way. Their defense is unbelievable with T.J. Watt. They've got superstars on that side of it. They're pretty good at a lot of their position groups. But the reality is to me, they're kind of like they're waiting. I think if you were to ask a Steeler fan, let's Brooke Pryor this, I think what they're hoping is that they hit the lottery with Justin Fields, and it feels like in camp he didn't live up quite to that. But if they don't do that, they're kind of in this NFL purgatory where they're forever chasing the next quarterback.
It does feel like they wanted to give Justin Fields a chance to win the job here. And, you know, there was
I think so too.
There was the lower body injury that Russell Wilson was just kind of cautiously staying out of practice. And so Justin Fields got all this time in practice. He got to start the first preseason game, and he just didn't wow them enough. It helps that he is still in the fight because Russell Wilson also didn't really wow the Steelers very much in the preseason and through camp. So it's still kind of open, but Russell Wilson has stayed in that QB1 spot since they've acquired these guys. And Justin Fields wasn't able to capitalize this year. They feel like this year could be like the year where it like finally falls off a little bit. You can only sit on the edge of a cliff and not fall off every single year for so long. But they do it every single year. It just feels like there's now so much going on, and it's so many years of the offense being behind the 8 ball that it's going to catch up to them, I think, this year. I don't think they'll ever completely bottom out. I don't think we'll see that. But this could be the 7-10 year for them.
They don't have an AFC North game until week 11. They got their bye in week 9. This feels weird to say, and I think it's going to sound weird too, but you come out of that bye week 9, you've got the trade deadline week 10. That could be your off-road, like your off-ramp. If you're Pittsburgh, you're saying, all right, Russell Wilson, this is fine, but this isn't working for us. Justin Fields, we don't think he's going to be our future. Let's start unloading some assets and see what we can do to position ourselves to get our future.
They just have never done it.
They'll never do it.
It's so crazy. They've never done it. Nobody else is like this. Like, you could argue, I think the two best franchises, take the fall off at New England. It's these guys in Baltimore for the last 25 years. Like, they're always
had 3 coaches since the 70s.
Yeah, it's crazy. They have to figure out what Justin Fields is and isn't this year. They have to figure it out in games. They need to get with Arthur Smith, the new offensive coordinator, and they got to figure out, can we make something with Justin Fields, or are we in the quarterback derby? I think Russell Wilson is cooked, man. Cooked.
You don't want to let him cook?
Ball.
He is cooked?
Yeah, he's cooked. He will not throw the ball downfield. Like, Pickens is going to have a field day.
That's so weird because that's like his best skill.
That's what he used to be, but now he's checked down Charlie. I don't see it. I think he's done, and I think they got to figure out what they have with Fields. Other than that, the roster's really good. If they had a really good quarterback, you'd say look out, and they could go chase things, but they don't, and so my hunch is they won't. All right, let's hit the categories on the Steelers. Brooke, Pryor, ESPN coming up in about 8 minutes from now with some expertise on this. We'll ask her about it. Franchise Mount Rushmore for Pittsburgh, Reese.
All right, we'll just start with the caveat that you tried telling James Harrison he's not on the Mount Rushmore of Pittsburgh Steelers. You see how that goes. So I've got James Harrison, Jerome Bettis, Troy Polamalu, Hines Ward.
Their list is so good that you could almost do it just by eras. So you went like 2000s guys. You could do one like 90s guys. You could do one 2010s guys. You could do one the 70s. You could do 6 teams of Mount Rushmores.
Yeah, it's crazy as you keep going. There were more names that kept coming up for me. This was not one where I had to be like, well, who should be the 4th one? This rolled right off. I got Cameron Hayward. He's been there forever. He's been a great general for them, and he's a Buckeye. So he's on my list. Troy Polamalu, just so much fun to watch with the hair flying out of the helmet. When he used to jump over, when he would guess the snap and jump over to get at the quarterback. Great stuff. Hey, kid, catch Mean Joe Green, if only for the commercial, if anything, because it's not like I saw him live. But that's where I'm going to go back into that 70s era realm of the Steelers. And for me, this goes to, when I think of the Steelers, I think of Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. They, it's funny, think about that. Tomlin, Cowher, Knoll, that's it. My whole life, 3 coaches. That's it.
And they've all won a Super Bowl.
They've all won Super Bowl. It's crazy. The Mean Joe Green is the right one. He's the best player on those teams. He's on the all-time NFL team at defensive tackle. He's one of the guys that's there. You could argue about who the other one is, but one of them's Mean Joe Green, and the commercial's outstanding. I love Terry Bradshaw. I know he wears on people. I think he's having the time of his life. He's maybe a little bit past the born-on date in terms of still being out there on a weekly basis. But when I was a kid and he would go, and in those days it was James Brown, and they would do the highlights at half. It seemed like he was having the time of his life. And I really enjoy Bradshaw. So I'm going to go Bradshaw there. Rod Woodson is a dude, an absolute dude. And I don't think it gets the attention it deserves. Is he on the NFL All-75 team because he was in the same era as Deion Sanders, and they were kind of similar. Rod Woodson brought the hammer, though, and he did a lot of the other things Deion did, too, and then transitioned to safety later in his career. And I'm with you, Cam Hayward. Loved covering him when he was here, and he's been a stalwart for them since 2011. Did they land the plane on the alternate uniform, Reese?
So it's just it's their home uniforms, but instead of white trim, white numbers, it's just gold.
Yeah.
So it's a B. It's fine. I mean, because black's their primary color. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll up it to the B+ because it's not the Bumblebee uniform that they put Big Ben in a few times.
Those are Fs.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Those are bad. Yeah, they're pretty clean. I mean, one year they did an alternate uniform. It was just block numbers, like back to the 70s. Like
they do such minimal things. Like
minimal.
The Steelers logo is only on one side of the helmet. Wasn't there one time where they just went out with no Steelers logo, and it's like, okay, I guess that's different.
I think their uniforms are great. I love the steel logo on the side. I think all of it works. I'd buy this jersey for my kid Reese. You wouldn't buy a damn one, would you?
Oh no, there's no way I'm spending a single solitary cent on these idiots. But if I was to have to choose, it'd be a TJ Watt 90.
Yeah.
I was looking through it, and I've always liked this guy's play style, and he's entering his second year. Was a big deal for them last year. And it's a cool number. You don't see very many 39s rolling around. Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, this would be a tough sell, certainly with my in-laws and with in my house. But
you'd be disallowed from many a Thanksgivings.
Yeah. Cam would be the one, I suppose, off this group. They've got a lot of cool players through history, though, so there's a lot of ways that you could go there. Win it all playoffs, building or tanking, Reese?
This should be a tanking situation, but they're trying to make the playoffs. So I guess I'll split the difference and say they're building, but to what? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I put tanking question mark, but you're right. Their approach is going to be that they think they should be in the postseason, and they... Like, their plan isn't going to be to tank. I don't know. I think they are, just kind of lost in what they're doing. Like, they seem to have lost their plan.
We used to have Road to Nowhere. I don't think they're that, because I do think they have a lot of nice pieces. I think they're kind of building. I think that's the Pittsburgh thing, right? They're Steelers. They build things. And I think that as a franchise, they kind of have that mentality of, like, they're always building. So even when they're not Super Bowl contenders, they're still building for the next year to try to improve the roster. They never take a step off the gas of that. They're always building. Always.
So it's just hard to pinpoint year to year because they never bottom out and have a 1-16 season.
No. So they're always building. And that's just, it's kind of that relentless approach. Brooke Pryor covers the Steelers for ESPN. She's the best in the business. She'll join us coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safelite Auto Glass. Early on in camp, you talked about the importance of having multiple fields to get multiple reps. Is that obviously a big help in evaluation?
Yeah, early in the season, you like to get as many reps as you can, especially when you have 5 quarterbacks here. Those guys need to get reps. And so in a period where, you're going to get, somewhere around 24 reps with the team. You can double that when you have 2 different fields in a shorter period of time as well. So we want to be efficient and on and off the field, especially early on when we're first getting going. For a lot of reasons, sports science wise, and so it gives us a lot more reps. As you get into the second week of practice, we start to trim it down and get onto 1 field. So we utilize 2 fields, really for that first 4 to 5 practices, and then we go to 1 field.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Coach, with multiple fields, multiple reps, how do you go about dividing up the time you oversee the different position groups?
Well, this year, it's been great for me to be able to take more time, during meetings to jump into everybody's meeting, sit in the linebackers meeting, sit in the D-line meeting, sit in different meetings, sit in the defensive unit meetings that Jim does a really excellent job with, and Chip does the same thing. And so that to me has been great because I'm able to sit in all the special teams meeting and be very much involved with that. On the field, still, more towards the offense, just in terms of making sure that, everything that we've done here the last, 7 years, there's a lot that comes with that. And when we played, some of the teams multiple years, there's certain things that, we know we're going to get. There's things that we've done well. There's things that we haven't done well. But Chip's been great just in terms of, taking a new perspective into the meeting room for all of us has been great. And he's been very open-minded, but at the same time has some really good ideas. And it's been good collaboration in that room.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese.
Lunch is ready.
He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe in a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
Find an agent at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Find savings to celebrate this Labor Day with one stop at Meijer. Pick up fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef family pack for $2.99 per pound, limit 5. And fresh from Meijer family pack boneless, skinless chicken breasts for $2.49 per pound. Get a large whole seedless watermelon for $3.99. Meijer chips 3 for $5. And buy 5, save $5 on some additional Labor Day must-haves. Get everything you need to celebrate the holiday and save. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Not interested in Iowa football? Too bad. Chops will tell you about it anyway. This is Bishop and Friends.
Well, if you want to know what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers, there is only one name. She's the very best. Brooke Pryor, ESPN NFL reporter covering the Steelers, joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Brooke, how closely did their original plan for the quarterback position get to being executed this training camp?
I think that they intended Russell Wilson to be the starter, and we are done with the preseason. I would expect Mike Tomlin to officially name a starter any minute, and I would expect that to be Russell Wilson. Although I don't know that – I think that they have the end result they expected to have. I don't know that they took the path they expected to take to get there, with Wilson being sidelined for a lot of camp with that calf injury. But this was always kind of the expected outcome after the flurry of quarterback moves in the offseason.
Brooke, Justin Fields obviously near and dear to our heart here in Columbus. Did he miss an opportunity here with the injury? Was there a chance for him to really win this job, and did he blow it?
No, I don't think so. I think that Justin Fields could have come in a preseason game and thrown for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and it still would have been tough for the Steelers to name him the starter over Russell Wilson, because Mike Tomlin's kind of had a long-standing, unspoken rule, so to say, that if you are the starter and you get injured, you're not going to lose your job because of injury. He's going to give you an opportunity to kind of work your way back, be healthy, and then try to retain the job. So I think that Justin Fields, anything he did in the preseason with Russell Wilson sidelined, or even if Russell Wilson is healthy, kind of just, I think, shrinks Russell Wilson's margin of error, so that, when he does start week 1, now the Steelers have a better idea of what Justin Fields can do on the bench behind him if they decide they need to make a move.
How will this offense differ from what you saw last year with Wilson versus at least Pickett to start?
I think that this offense should be better in the ground game. They've made a lot of moves on the offensive line. Granted, they need to get healthy there, I think, to have the most effective offensive line. But I think that they're going to be maybe fewer mistakes. I think that Russell Wilson has a higher floor. I think that with Arthur Smith back there at offensive coordinator, that this offense will be more fluid than it was at times last year with Matt Canada calling plays. It just felt really disjointed in a lot of ways. And I think that Russell Wilson is going to use a lot of play action. I think that he has a better deep ball, a more consistent deep ball than Kenny Pickett had. So I think the Steelers are hoping that things look a lot better, but it could be bumpy to start because of some of the injuries they've had on the offensive line. They've got Broderick Jones at right tackle. They really wanted to move him to left, but Troy Fautanu's knee injuries kind of prevented that from happening yet.
What was it like in camp? Because being around Justin when he was here, he is such a force of personality. Like, he is a follow me to freedom guy. Like, he's got natural leadership qualities. I assume that's still there, despite everything that happened in Chicago. Russell leads kind of in his own way, but he's quirky. How did Mike Tomlin manage the two of them through camp? And I guess, what did you see for Fields? Do you think this is a 1-year thing with him in Pittsburgh, or do they think that there's perhaps more there with him?
I think the hope is that there's more there with Fields. I think they signed both these guys hoping that one of them works out. But I think Justin Fields has really been kind of quiet in this situation. And that's because, he doesn't have the spotlight and the pressure on him the way that he's had at other points in his career at Ohio State and with the Bears. He can kind of, I don't want to say fade into the background because he's never going to be a background guy, but he doesn't have to be the franchise guy. He knows how to lead, but I think that he's really trying to focus on himself and be a part of, he's always been part of the team, but I think that he's just in a lower pressure situation where he can work on some things that kind of prevented him from doing everything he wanted to do in Chicago.
Talking to the great Brooke Pryor, ESPN NFL reporter covering the Steelers. How do the fans over there view this team and in terms of expectations? And does it differ with the way that the front office and staff views this team is in the way of expectations?
Well, the Steelers fan base always has high, I don't know if expectations is the right word. I think Steelers fan base, if there's not a Super Bowl run, then it's a failure of the season. I think that this is a team and a fan base that, would really like to have a playoff win. They haven't had that since 2016, which is crazy. Every single time I say it, it doesn't feel real. But I think, this is also a pessimistic fan base. There's hope that with the change in quarterbacks that maybe this offense can get back on track. But then there's also, the cynical group that says, well, just because they made a change doesn't mean that it's for the better. So I think that, this preseason has been interesting. It's definitely a different feel than this time last year where the Steelers went 3-0 in the preseason and it looked like Kenny Pickett was the second coming and then the wheels came off in week 1. So this preseason, the Steelers didn't win a single game and the first team offense didn't look great, looked better against the Lions backups. But I think that there's just a lot of apprehension in this fan base, but I think the front office feels like they are in a better spot than they were this time a year ago.
Brooke, is there a guy on the roster who maybe we're not talking about enough? And I'm speaking, I guess, kind of a little bit from fantasy purposes, too. A lot of listeners, obviously, players. Is there a guy who's popped in camp and you're like, oh, he could be a little better than people think?
Van Jefferson, to me, has been impressive. I know the Steelers have been linked to Brandon Ayuk, and there's still kind of a stalemate in that trade. Although, as I say that, something will be resolved in the next 30 seconds because that's kind of the way it feels like it's gone. But I do think that Van Jefferson has been a solid number 2. Obviously, they'd like to add another playmaker, but he's been a reliable target for Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. He's gotten a lot of red zone work, a lot of work on their 7-shot drill that they take from the 2-yard line. And he's just been really consistent and I think should complement George Pickens really well. So I would keep an eye on him, and also Cordero Patterson, who we know is signed primarily to be a return guy, but he's lined up at running back. He's caught passes out of the backfield. He's lined up at wide receiver. He can do a little bit of everything. I don't know that he's worth a roster spot, but he is essentially their third running back, and I think he could end up maybe vulturing some touchdowns in the red zone when the Steelers get down there.
Brooke, I'll get you out of here on this one. I can't thank you for your time enough. You've been around there a little bit. Tomlin's never had a losing record. How? What is in the special sauce over there? How do they go 10-7 last year? How does it happen? I look at it and I think, boy, at some point you got to fall off, but they just never do.
You know, nobody gets more out of their roster than Mike Tomlin. He is the definition of a player's coach, and he gets these guys to dig deep and just it's amazing the way that he can maximize the talent on a roster when it seems like there's not maybe much talent to be had, or at least not top-end talent. Of course, I think there's conversation to be had about the role that he plays in building those rosters, but he does a really good job of getting the most out of these guys, and that's what helps them keep having these string of non-losing seasons. Of course, then they don't get the high draft pick that could get some of that top-end talent. So it's kind of a catch-22, but it's also never a bad thing to say, hey, I've been the head coach for what feels like almost 2 decades and never had a losing season. That's a pretty good stretch.
It just seems borderline impossible. I know you're busy. I can't thank you enough for your time. Thanks for giving us a little bit of it today.
Of course, happy to do it. See ya.
All right, that's Brooke Pryor, ESPN, covering the Steelers on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We hit 3 things. You're officially endorsed. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We're dealing at Reichert Nissan. Hundreds of Nissans in stock, on the ground, and priced to sell fast. Low lease payments on brand new Reichert Nissan Sentras, only $219 a month. Now we're really dealing. With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Visit the Reichert Mega Mall off 270 and 33, or shop thousands of new and certified used at ReichertNissan.com. Get the right car at Reichert. We're dealing.
With approved credit, 2024 Sentra SB FWD 36-month lease with $3,000 due at signing. Offer ends 9/3/24.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. This season on Nada Yada Island. You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary.
Jeremy Foltz, CEO and co-founder of 3C Technology Solutions, speaks about working with First Bank of Central Ohio.
I think FBCO had a really nice personal touch. Transition was really easy and much cleaner than I thought it would be. Some very specific things that made me very excited to work with them are availability and creativity.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC. An equal housing lender.
Friday night in the Buckeye State means only one thing. High school football, baby. Join Ryan Baker and Coach Lee Cochran for Byers Dublin Subaru High School Overtime.
Friday night at 9:30.
Your home of all things football. The Fan.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just a slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 3 free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Back to school time. Your kids probably have fancy friends. Isn't it about time you gave them a ride to be proud of? Actually, hell with the kids. Treat yourself to a new Lexus. Right now, it's the Golden Opportunity Sales Event with rates as low as 2.99% on ES, NX, and RX, as well as great lease payments. I've been a Jermaine customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. JermaineLexus.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what are we on the poll today?
Daily Fan Poll asks, will you or have you watched the Connor Stallions documentary, Untold, Sign Stealer? No, 66% of respondents. Yes, 33%.
Yeah, I think it's something
really, you're safe just watching the last 10 minutes.
And I also think that, like, it's something where, so my wife and kid didn't know a lot of it. They knew what he was, and they knew Michigan cheated, but they didn't know, like, the full extent. I think it's like one of those things that's like produced only for us. That's why I don't understand, to your point earlier, Chops. I don't understand what they're doing with these, because they're telling these stories as if we don't know them.
Yeah.
They're telling these stories as if they're making sports documentaries for people who sort of care about sports a little. And here are these wide, broad strokes shown and told through one prism. And what we're really looking for in something like this was like a real deep dive. And
they have Connor Stallions explain what signals are at a certain point during this. And it's like, yeah, we're aware.
Like, everyone watching this knows what that is. No one else is interested in this type of content other than like diehard sports fans who are curious if anything else came of it. So, no, I think they've dropped the ball on almost every one of these that I've seen. All right, it's a First Friday. Hit it.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday. Officially endorsed because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
Sponsored by Sugar Shannara Accident Attorneys. We go to war for you at warforyou.com. That's warforyou.com.
We drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good. Because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar. Because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
All right, so this one is not necessarily for tonight, but rather for Saturday night post game, as you're listening to my boys break down the day that was in college football, and you're enjoying a lopsided Buckeye victory. We're going to go with the Whiskey War Black Walnut Old Fashioned. And so what I'm going to use for this, if you're watching on the YouTube stream, I'm going to use Whiskey War Double Double, double gold winner from 2022, an absolute steal. They got a lot of these at the retail places, so scoop some of those up. So you do that. We're going to take 2 brown sugar cubes. You're going to grind those up. You're going to hit them with a couple of dashes of black walnut gold black walnut bitters. Pour a little of the nectar of the whiskey on top of that to just kind of get it moving a little bit, get the juices flowing. Finish it off with a full pour, put a giant rock in it, and away you go. The Whiskey War Black Walnut Old Fashioned post-game Saturday night. Time for 3 things on a First Friday. Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me, NBC and the 7th grade boys. They had a big one against a rival team who we always lose close to in basketball and lacrosse. Needless to say, that was not the case in football. We were up 28-0 at the end of the first, 140-0. Could have been 70. I get in the car with him. I'm like, and I said, boy, that was funny. He's like, Dad, I wanted to beat him 70-0. I'm like, good job out of you. Like, they've taken a lot of pounds of flesh off you, buddy. I don't blame you. He hit himself a day, had a decleater, knocked a helmet off of a kid, also had a pick. So a lot of fury at the linebacker position for NBC yesterday. Good job out of him.
All right, get him some stripes. Stripes.
Yeah. Oh, I I love those hit stripes. I got to talk to those guys about that. That's a great thing. I love those.
This from basketball knower Steph No, friend of the program as well, and he put together this graph to show it also, like, graphically how far down Angel Reese is in this specific stat. So, according to him, she can be considered the worst finisher in the WNBA. Angel Reese is shooting 43.8% on shots within 5 feet of the basket.
Crazy.
By far the worst percentage in the WNBA, minimum 100 attempts. So this kind of, stems from people who are like, she gets all those rebounds because she grabs 8 of her own throughout the game. Like, that's kind of where
I wonder if it's intentional.
Yeah, and it's like, well, if she grabs her own rebound and ultimately scores, I guess it's fine.
Is that an
It's
assist too?
It's almost more of an anomaly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's. I will tell you this: she played Vegas over the weekend, and they got $1 million, and that was like without Caitlin Clark, they got $1 million with her involved. So people are into her.
So the second part of season 5 of Yellowstone's out on November 10th. Kevin Costner will not be part of it, so they'll probably have a storyline where Governor John Dutton is dead. This morning on Today, Carson Daly confirmed reports Paramount is working to sign Rip and Beth, that's Cole Hauser and Kelly Riley, for a 6th season of Yellowstone. Just stop.
Yeah, I don't know what more we need to do there. I think that you've told the story. By the way, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Costner paratrooped in because they're still filming this thing, and his Horizon thing was a bomb. Total bomb. Like, I don't even see...
Wasn't like part 1 of 3, yeah.
Part 1 is already on HBO, and I don't even think the second one ever was released.
In the show, do they talk about, like, the country at large being like, what's going on in Montana? Like, what if, right. Randomly a state just like, this family's kind of taken over the state, and there's, like, shootouts in the street now.
Yeah, the idea that, like, this will be my second one, there's not that much gunplay in Big Sky Country, kids. Like, there's not that much. There's like, I think I did it one time. There's like 18 murders in the year. Like, it's just not, and as opposed to one night at the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. Speaking of Yellowstone, and this will dovetail into it, watching 1923, because NBC can't sit up to 11 to watch Lost, so I'm finally finishing that up. That should have just been 2 separate series. The guy in Africa with the girl coming home, and then Harrison Ford screwing around back in Montana. Just 2 it's so disjointed. It's almost like they're not connected at all.
Because they're not.
They're not. No, it's really strange.
I was thinking this as I was walking up, but I was letting the dogs out at the same time my neighbor was letting the dogs out yesterday, and I've not introduced myself to him yet, and I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. The dogs were out. They were on the fence line kind of barking at each other anyways, and I did the full-on Home Improvement Wilson. I even hit him with a howdy neighbor as I just peeked my face over the fence. But I met my new neighbor, and we have made that point of contact there. So we'll see if I'm giving him life advice over the fence in a few years' time.
You just got to get that bucket hat. Rothman and Ice are up next from 12 to 3. Tyvis Powell in for AR. Adam Schefter's going to join the boys at 12:33. Maybe today's the day he breaks the Brendan Ayuk to the Browns trade. Cleveland's got 4 quarterbacks. Maybe they can trade one of those to San Francisco.
Not bloody likely.
Damn it.
I did see, number 3 for me, I saw a picture of Nick Faldo, who's now a fellow Montanan, and he was sitting in a chair that was adorned in the Union Jack. That's a great flag. That's maybe the best flag ever made. The Union Jack is awesome. It's not, we don't see it as much. It was a real, like, fashion point of my youth. I don't see it as much anymore, but it's spectacular. Absolutely spectacular.
Last one for me. This was actually a conversation I had yesterday near the end of the show, but Baker is back in today. And I asked him, because he was wearing a Blue Jacket shirt, and he's almost always in a Blue Jacket shirt. And I said, well, what do you think? Do you think you have more Blue Jackets shirt/gear than Bodie has Notre Dame stuff? His reply, I'd say easy. So that's a pretty bold statement, because I don't know if I've ever seen Bodie in anything but Notre Dame stuff, but we might need a count off. They might need to show up like Joey in that episode of Friends with all of their clothes on and whoever's bigger, but Baker's got a lead on that already.
I love them both, but Bake, on this one, you're wrong. I've never seen Bodie in not a Notre Dame shirt, ever.
It's crazy.
I've seen him in a Dallas Cowboys shirt, but that was that one time. Guardians and Royals today at 1:10. My analysis, as the Royals could become the first team in baseball history to lose 100 or more games in a season and win their division the following year. They're tied right now at the top of the Central.
There you go. You need a First Friday, buddy. Enjoy it. Everybody else out there, act accordingly. Rothman and Ice up next. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
The New York Jets are currently the favorite to win the AFC East at plus 160. It would be the first time they enter as a division favorite since 2002. The Browns and Washington are the only two other teams to not be a division favorite in any year since 2002. Browns this year have the third best odds in the AFC North at plus 450. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
The Columbus Men's Clinic opened in 2014 for guys who get it done. Let's talk, fellas. You solve problems all day at work. You fix your sink when it's broken. But when it comes to ED and low T, it doesn't get done. We get it. You hate going to the doctor, but you're the guy that fixes things. At the Columbus Men's Clinic, there's nothing to fear and no reason to delay. We've been destroying bedroom boredom for a decade. So if you haven't fixed this, call us. When the pills fail, call us. If you feel like you've tried everything, call us. Here, there's hope. From the conventional to the next level. You'll be seen by our friendly, discreet physician who will take the time to listen. Imagine finally taking care of this with no surgery. Imagine going from feeling gray to living life in vibrant color. It's time to be confident. Join the thousands of guys who have found success after walking through our doors. Will you be one of them? Dial 614-300-7400 or go to ColumbusMen'sClinic.com to schedule a $99 male performance consultation, including blood work. Do it for you. Do it for her. ColumbusMen'sClinic.com. Book your appointment now.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 roof.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Colin Man and T-Bone here for our friends at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Bone, do you know that there's games going on this weekend?
Oh, I know. And your game day headquarters is the sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Massive TV walls, 12,000 square feet, and all the gaming action you could want.
Wager at one of 4 betting windows and 30-plus betting kiosks. Beat the crowd and reserve a table for all game days this fall at HollywoodColumbus.com.
Wow, private table. Must be nice. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-